Meow, we are. Ugh. So yeah, it's been another week. Another week. What's up, Onasi? I'll take my first award in 100K or 1K installments. Yusuf, what's up, man? Neo Orpheus, you need to do another. Hey, you need to do another intro like this. With the advertisement. Word up. What's up, Elijah? What's up, man? What's up, Nick? Oh my God. So yeah, man, I was on, well, not even, well, I was on a phone call earlier. Then I had to do I'm emailing my VA counselor. And I tell you what, man, like, I'm just fully, I don't think women should be working jobs like that has any sense of weight to them. Like, I just, and it's just my opinion. Like, I don't think women should be working jobs that have any serious weight to them. I was on a phone call today, and first off, 80% of the words that were said absolutely did not need to be said, right? Because, see, like, the hard part about dealing with women is this whole, like, okay, everybody's kind of worried about, being offensive and, shit like that in real life. But women, it just take it too far overboard. Especially American women. Maybe not so much like the rest of the world's women, but they do it to some level. But American women are so much more worse because here's the thing: when American women have to go to work, right? They instinctivally know to talk like this and be nice and yeah and I bet see like they know see woman knows how to employ femininity when she thinks it'll get her an easier position in life. Oh, she'll run to that extremely fast, right? Whenever she knows like there's a good chance she's going to be wrong about something that she just can't work her way out of, then it's this whole like, oh, hey, now she knows how to like try to employ. Every now and then you get some who just double down on the masculinity, but for the most part, they'll employ it. So first off, when I spoke with the woman today, I actually spoke with her a week ago, and I didn't even she remembered me. I didn't remember her, and it's this whole like, oh, hi, and here's a weird part too about especially like women in America is like if you're a man who's living overseas anywhere and she can pretty much immediately know that you have some type of education because she can see your file or whatever. Oh, like her entire tone and cadence and speech, everything will just flip, right? And now she knows how to respect and listen. But until that part, she like they can be pushy and she already knows what she's doing and all this shit like that. It's really weird and disgusting. And here's the thing. It's to the point now, even if I were to go back to America, right? Who knows what may happen. But if I were to go back to America and if I got a halfway decent job, I'm pretty sure I like given my past and my and the worlds that I'm in now, I don't think it would be too hard to find a woman there. But here's the thing, like the women there are just so disgusting that I wouldn't even consider it a win. I just wouldn't even consider it a win, right? Because here's the thing. Like, okay, like I said, if that woman thinks that you don't have anything, or if she thinks you haven't done anything with your life and all this, like she's going to treat you like shit, dude. Like that's just how women are. She might be nice, as long as she's patient, but let her get pushed and she'll treat you like shit. So in the worlds that I'm in, well, first off, in the worlds that I'm in, especially going back to the U.S., like they're gonna know that I've got some education, or else because there have been no way I could have even walked into, or walked into this room slash telephone call, whatever. So they're not maybe not they may not be so impressed by the education, but as soon as I throw up like my Czech telephone number, then that's gonna bring up, oh, where are you? Oh, where I see this isn't an American number. What is this? It's only got 6 digits in the main part. What number is this? And then they start adding. And I was like, oh hey, nice to see you now. Nice to see you again. But at first it's like, it's completely different, right? It's like I said, so if they're doing that to me, they're treating men who maybe didn't make it, at least to where I am or higher. How are they treating these men, right? I've rejected women because I didn't like how they treated like a friend of mine or something like. I remember one guy specifically. I rejected this girl hard because I didn't like how she spoke to my friend, right? And I just rejected her. Like I don't. Here's the thing. I do not consider it a win, right? Like if I don't consider female validation a win, right? Now I can use it as a bargaining tool for another task I'm trying to complete or work through. I'll use that woman acknowledgement to get me over somewhere else. But as far as like me personally, like in the world, like I do not take woman's opinion is worth less than dog shit to me, dude. Like it's worthless because they'll just make up anything at a drop of a hat, and they're just so fake and phony for the most part. I don't have a lot of respect for women, or I don't because again I watched how women treat people who they don't like versus who they like, and I've seen it, and they're just terrible. Like woman, she's just, she's just terrible. Like they're just awful. So I do not consider it a win. I don't consider like female validation, shit like that. I don't consider again now. I can take that validation and know that I can use it by being seen with a woman somewhere else because I know that's how society will treat you. Society essentially sees if woman's accepted you, then you must be acceptable type of thing. I realize that reality of how the world is completely backwards with it. But on a personal level, no, a woman's opinion is worth less than dog shit to me. Completely. I remember me and my girl, I told her, because she got mad because I called this girl pretty, right? I remember I was walking down I was walking in Angel. It's check for Angel. Angel is like it's Prague 5, right? And I was on the tram. And while I was on the tram, I happened to look out the window and I seen this Indian girl that I knew like when I first moved here. And I had been all throughout Czech Republic, so it's crazy I see her now, right? And I always recognize her because some of them Indian girls can be just flat out, just next level gorgeous, with the dark brown skin, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like them Indian girls, when them Indian girls are beautiful, those Indian girls are fucking beautiful, dude. Like in a way where it doesn't even hurt. It's just like that's the definition of beauty, right? Because some girls can be so pretty it can almost hurt and like scare you. She's the type of this girl I'm talking about now. She's pretty in the sense of. Let me sure you guys are hearing me before I keep on ranting. Watch I'm talking with the mic off. Oh yeah, I just heard myself. Yeah, so this girl is like when you see her, it's just like that is beauty, right? There's just no way around it. Like she's just a pretty girl. And I told Kratos' mom, Sarah Esmeralda, LaQuisha, whatever you want to call her. I told her, yeah, I seen, yeah, she's super pretty. And my girl, she got mad because I called her pretty, right? So I had to break it down to her. Like pretty for me, what I consider, okay, the value of what pretty is to me is not the value of what pretty is to like the mainstream world. So I literally explained to her, pretty to me was running hookers in Dayton, and on the way with me taking a hooker to go meet a guy, she's talking shit about it. Dude, some of the prettiest girls you ever seen in your life, talking shit about it, how she's gonna get all this money out of me, and she's gonna give me some money, and we're gonna go eat and all this shit like that. And the guy gets in the car, and he's, a good guy, and he's just, chilling. Hey, what's up, man? And we talking, and this girl already planned out how she was gonna take at least 300 from him that night, right? And this was, over 10 years ago when these were relatively rare scenarios where guys would even spend this much. And these pretty girls were plotting to do the worst things to men, dude. So like pretty to me, and I told her like pretty to me is I can admire pretty, just to look at it, but as far as actual worth, no, like it's worth pretty to me, in my opinion, makes a good brothel worker, but after that, pretty alone doesn't do, much. Pretty to me is a good brothel worker or prostitute. I know I'm like for the Indian girl I just spoke about, I know she can go stand up in Show Park and get some clients, I could, because of how she looks. If you just take her down the show park and stand her up, yo, she gets some clients, right? But that girl that pretty girl is gonna do the worst things because because guys want her, right? So how many guys is waiting for a text back from her and all this shit like that? It means nothing to me. I got pretty is, and I had to tell. I broke it down to her that day, and of course, she was still kind of mad about it because she doesn't want to hear me call another woman pretty. But it is what it is, right? Pretty, like Kanye West said, the prettiest people do the ugliest things, and that's true, especially women. 80 hit live, start spraying is going to be a good stream. What's up, Jen? A lot of women are leeching money out of their jobs in government. It's why U.S. economy is shit. Oh yeah, and I could tell, like in the circles I'm in, man, I could tell I could tell that they started hiring too many women because you can always tell when too many women get in a place because all of a sudden nobody knows where anything is. Everybody's acting more fake and phony. Attitudes are flying, but and it's this constant fucking what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's this constant air in the background of fake, phony politeness. Like you can always tell when there's been more women in anywhere than it is men, because every all of a sudden everything is lost. There's no more order to anything. Nobody knows where anything is. Everybody's confused. Everybody's mad, but everybody's trying to fake like they aren't mad by talking around the subject because nobody wants to be offensive and hurt somebody's feelings, and it just slows down everything, right? I can tell. I can tell. There's been more women in two worlds I'm in right now. It's super easy to be able to smell it out. Either one, there's a lot of women there, or two, they let a woman become a boss. One of the two. Either one, there's a lot of women that are just like other workers, or two, there's just one woman who's a female boss that's trying to run a bunch of men. But either way it goes, when that femininity takes over, when the woman starts to take over, though that next area is inevitable to happen. Everybody's going to end up confused. Nobody's going to know where anything is. All of a sudden, everything's late. Everything's, there's nothing really there of good quality. Whenever people speak, you can tell that they didn't even think 3 seconds before they open their mouth, kind of thing, because everybody's just in this huge, everything's in shambles, and then they've gone crazy now. It's always that. You can always tell. But you know what I was thinking about right before I started this live stream? I was thinking about when Thomas Sowell was saying how the black friend of his didn't become a pilot, right? Now I'm playing the DCS. I think it's a simulator. It's pretty hard to control. I'm pretty sure it's a simulator. DCS on PC. I got this stick right here, and I was playing this like right before I turned on the laptop, and I had to do it. I just had to land a fucking plane, dude. Like I landed the motherfucker, and it didn't blow up, but that motherfucker skid. I literally hit Tokyo Drift in the grass. On a simulator. And look, I think about Thomas Sowell talking about his black friend didn't become a. Why didn't the black friend become a pilot and everybody else can? Like, that dude's a fucking joke. I'm not even going to that. That dude's just such a fucking clown. I'm not even going to dive into that shit. But long story short, man, like legit professions in any kind of way outside the norm, you don't just okay. I mean, you can go up in there cold turkey and figure it out, but when you start talking about these highly specialized fields like that, if you don't have family or a lot of friends who's doing something similar in that same method of thinking, like you're just gonna be asked out. Like I remember when I started biotech, man. When I did biotech, it was like I have the same feeling of getting through the DCS tutorials as when I was back in biotech at when I was in college in America, right? So the biotech field was the same way where I was at, right? Like when you walk in there, the teacher expects you to already know half this shit, right? Like you walk in there and she'd be like, test. Like, yo, I just walked in the room. How am I supposed to know? I ain't even got the we even got the books yet because the bookstore ain't even open. And he's talking about some tests. Like my man. Oh yeah, by the way, you may not want to do that. Like, do what? I don't even know what you're talking about. And then that's how I felt in biotech. And this DCS shit is the same way. This motherfucker is going through tutorials in this flight simulator game, and this motherfucker's going, yeah, you might want to hit left shift apostrophe to let down the right landing brake, and then right shift and X to let down to start the right engine up. But don't do that until you hit the left enter and Q to close the cockpit. But before you do that, first you got to put your seatbelt on. But you got to look at my man. I just stepped in the room. How the fuck am I supposed to remember all this shit? Like, where are you getting this from? And biotech was the same way. Biotech was the same way. That is a lifestyle. Where I'm trying to loop this back up is in with the whole Thomas Sowell and how come the black friend didn't get his pilot license, but the white guy did. Look, because these are lifestyles. You don't walk up in there on day one and just know what this shit is. If you ain't part of that lifestyle, you're going to have a whole lot harder of a time than a motherfucker who grew up, who was around people and they family history might even be in that shit, right? This is one of them things. So I finished the tutorial where I had to land this jet, and it's explaining the whole, because the thing I do like is now I know what the hood, all that shit on the hood means and the shit in the cockpit means. Like, that's the part that I really do enjoy about it, because all this stuff I never knew. So that's really why I'm playing it, because I had no idea what a lot of that shit really meant. I kind of, guess, but I didn't really know what it meant, right? So that's why I like these simulators. Like, I'm playing a tram simulator, bus simulator, and I'm playing this simulator. So it's teaching me all these little things. I'm sure it's not like, one-to-one in real life because it's a fucking video game, but at least it's like some awareness on what the fuck it can be, right? But yeah, I did the tour where I had to land this motherfucking plane. Let me tell you, bruh, in a simulator, landing a fucking plane is like next level shit. When you really have to think about that shit, and it's on some simulation shit, ain't no joke. And this is a fucking game, dude. I can't even imagine trying to do that shit in real life. That's a whole nother ball. I mean, I get like, some of it, but like to do that shit where you can like do it without second guessing yourself, that's a whole nother level of shit, man. Because I'm not part of that lifestyle, right? I'm not part of that life. You know what I mean? I just woke up one day and said, hey, I'm going to play this. I'm going to do this, right? Just like Thomas Sowell's black friend. And yeah, he ain't going to make it, right? Because I'm not saying he's not going to make it, but he's going to have a whole lot harder of a time. He's going to have a lot bigger hurdles to make it over. You know, because it's a good chance that him and his family wasn't part of that life. What's up, Antara Moody? What's up, man? Feminism, the 60-year-long shit test. Yeah. What's up, CJ Life? Yeah, I'm good, man. Hope you doing all right. It's a constant circle jerk of confusion and fake kindness when being in a room full of women. Speaking from personal experience of working in a dental clinic. Oh God, yeah. It's just a constant fucking just like everybody's just hi. Well, where are you going today? Oh well, like everything that women do to like fucking just get through life is strictly a manipulation tactic to try to either boost her social status. Well, that's really it, to boost her social status, so she can survive. It's literally their fucking instinct. Like the vast majority can't help it, and there are some who just don't play that shit. I'm not gonna say every single woman, but every single woman is fully aware of it, for sure. AD, I have a whole playlist on YouTube called Red Pill Truths that I say at a bunch of your OG vids. Oh, word. Nice. AD, you up for doing a call-in stream? I don't know, man. I'm probably not going to be on too long today because I'm pretty tired right now. And because I want to do a live stream because I hadn't done anything all week because I've been busy with, other shit in my life. But yeah. Oh, Bitcoin. Y'all see Bitcoin? That shit shot up. I took that shit straight out. I took most of it out. I took most of mine out. That shit's about 60 something thousand. I mean, let me take a look at the Bitcoin real quick. I'll take most of my shit out because I'm not a gambler, man. But here's the thing. Let me look at my Bitcoin real fast. You say it's at 61,000, right? $61,057. I took that shit out with the quickness, right? Because here's another trick I learned. Like when you live in like where I'm living, the fees to actually take it out, they're cheaper when North America is sleeping. Like I forget where I read this at. Maybe it's outdated. I don't know. But I was looking into why is it so expensive to take out, Bitcoin if you want to take some out, right? Or why are the fees that anything to do with it? They're like crazy, right? And they said, oh no, I was reading some forum, and I don't know how true this is, but so far it's been pretty spot on. Pretty much, first off, you don't want to take out Bitcoin from a machine during like peak hours, like Friday night or something, because I tried that, and they wanted to charge. I tried to take out $50, and they wanted to charge me $20 to take out $50 because I had no check cash, and where I was going didn't take card, so I had to take out. I needed cash, so I just went with no cash. I said, fuck that. I said, never mind. But the other thing is, it's like if you're living in Europe, the best time to take it out is when North America is still sleeping. And I don't know why that is, but somebody said that. And when I started trying to do it like on that schedule, yeah, the fees were like at max $5 to take out, any amount at maximum I've ever seen. Right. But if I try to take it out any other time, like throughout the day, all the fees can easily hit $10, $15 to take it out. So yeah, that's just if anybody's into Bitcoin, and which I don't recommend, but if you're in Bitcoin, I say like look into the times when to take the money out. If anybody knows anything better than I do, let me know. Like it's more knowledge for me. Like, and I don't know the best way to do everything. So if anybody knows, definitely, educate me, enlighten me on it. But yeah, I took most of my shit out. Hey, did you hear about what's going on with P. Diddy? No. Not outside the usual, like, the dudes, like, he's butt fucking dudes and shit like that. I mean, which, yeah, shit like that, man. Like, but to answer your question, no. I'm not saying he does butt fuck dudes. I'll say this. Like Jay-Z said to, I think, Kanye West, when talking about, they was questioning sexuality, right? And Jay-Z said, look, that as a man, that is how you know you made it, is once they question your sexuality. Like that's how that's how you know you've made it in the world, is when people start questioning it, to like hurt you kind of thing, right? That's when you know you made it. So with P. Diddy, with a dude in his position, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I was always a little skeptical about P. Diddy because like he was never a good rapper in my opinion. And on top of that, like everybody he ever like, he backed would always, their careers they would always be like these little one-hit wonders and be gone. Like he would just almost just throw them away as soon as he would get one kind of thing. And I always noticed that. Like I always noticed that about him. Like any group that he made or any group, they would always have like one or two songs he throw it out for complete and they just be gone. And I was always a bit skeptical of him because of that. Yeah, that's just one thing I noticed about him. He's a horrible rapper. I wouldn't even call him a rapper. I call him like what's that motherfucker name? Lil Jon. I call him more of a Lil Jon than a rapper. Just a motherfucker that just his presence and just speaking is enough to sell records. But he ain't gonna really spit no hot bars. His bar, that motherfucker already spit ice cream bars. That shit ain't gonna be hot at all. It's just gonna be freezing cold. Just hurry up, get to the main rapper. We see you, P. Diddy. Just finish this. I know cat rhymes with hat, P. Diddy. I know. Just get off the stage. Get the main attraction up here. Shit's whack. Good for you with the Bitcoin decision. It will turn out to be the biggest pyramid scheme in history. Yeah. But here's the thing, Jen, with the Bitcoin, like when I was going down to the mall, like this is what I talk, like this is that gambler mentality that I say so hard to not fall into. The whole way down there, I'm thinking like, but what if it hits the jackpot? I heard these motherfuckers was buying up a whole lot of Bitcoin. what if I hit the jackpot? And like I said about, I think, a week ago, I said, look, when my thing is, whenever you start thinking like that, shut it down, right? But the whole way down, I was just like spaced out thinking about it, like, what if this shit, like, takes off like crazy? Like, what if? So much to where, like my girl, she was actually down there, and I didn't even see her. She seen me and came and waved at me, and and said something. I didn't even see her, and I told her exactly the same thing. I said, look, this is that gambler shit, because a part of me, I don't want to take it out, because I'm hoping to keep winning, because if you're in Bitcoin, you've been winning like pretty much the last 4 months straight. It's been just a constant win on a monthly basis, right? Constant win. Every month you made out with considerably more than you put in there, right? When you talk about investing shit, right? Um, and see, that's what gets gamblers, is that reliance on that money, and then think, and like you just truly you become dependent on it, and it's like no, I can get it again, I get it again, and now, like, and this I finally hit an area when it hit 60,000. That was officially the area where I knew, okay, like, this is where I have to put my foot down to fight that gambler mentality, to fight that gambler shit of, like, I can get it again, I can get it again, I can get it again type of shit. And this is it. I don't even care what happens. If it does go up, well, then good for you. If you in Bitcoin, it goes up, I'm happy for you. But this is more of a personal thing for me, to not lose myself, and because I fuck around and lose myself into it, right? So I took it out. I took out most of the vast majority of it, and yeah, I took it out. Cause yeah, I took it out, man. I took it out. Cause look, with okay, now, because like I said, okay, since I had the Bitcoin, now I did not lose any money in Bitcoin. I won. Like I told my girl, I've probably doubled the money in crypto, right? Throughout this whole time I've had it. It's I say probably about double, probably double over the whole time. Um, so at that point, like, I'm just gonna at this point I'm just gonna be happy with what I did. Now, if somebody sends me Bitcoin, I'll leave it in there, but I'm not gonna put any money in that mother. I'm not gonna put my own money into it anymore. Unless it goes, if it goes down to like 30, like if it does what it did like 3 years ago, if it's like, just everybody just sells that shit, like, because it's hitting that 60,000 mark again. If it goes down to 30, then I might put some of it back in. But if it stays at 60 and all that, I'm just not gonna do it. But here's the thing: if anybody out there decides to do it, like, I'm happy for you. Like, do it, and I hope you make out good on it. This is more of a personal fight with me, why I decided to do it. But again, if you win off of it, like, I hope you win off of it. I hope anybody wins off of it. But again, it's just a personal thing for me, and not getting lost in it. But yeah, let's watch this video real fast. Morbid Facts, Part 103. What used to be punishment for women? Making them shut the fuck up.
Part 103. The Scold's Bridle was a device that was used to publicly humiliate women until the 19th century. On the inside, the device had a metal plate that would press down on the tongue and prevent the wearer from speaking. It was placed on women who were said to be troublesome to keep them quiet and prevent them from gossiping. This is a powerful photo of a starving Ugandan boy holding the hand of a missionary in 1980. For many years, the lead singer of Lynyrd Skynyrd told his bandmates that he wouldn't live to the age of 30. His dad reported that even when he was a child, Ronnie would often say, "Daddy, I'll never be 30 years old." When his father asked why he kept saying this, Ronnie would just reply, "Daddy, that's my limit." Sure enough, when he was 29 years old, Ronnie Van Zant died in a plane crash. Morbid facts.
Morbid facts. Yeah. The biggest punishments historically were historically, typically speaking. Okay, that whole concept of them being witches and all that was a thing, but that was really only a thing because men, okay, for a long time, men just didn't understand why they liked women so much, and I think a lot of that really has roots in that, and just not having any way to really understand women and what they do. They just didn't give women too much thought, and I ultimately think that that's really where a lot of that whole witchcraft, that whole like witch hunt shit came from. Um, that's just my belief. I'm not gonna say it's true, but that's just my belief. But for the vast majority of human history, whenever there was a punishment, women always got off. Really, okay, women in logically equivalent, like 1-to-1 punishments, women always got off far easier than men. There's even I'm thinking of one painting right now where it was a painting where a father was getting ready, he was gonna be killed, and it's a painting. Let me see if I can find that painting. And in the painting, his daughter, because back in them old days, they didn't feed you when you went to prison. Like, you just fucked up, right? But he was behind bars, and his daughter had just given birth, so his daughter had to feed her own father breast milk like through the bars so he can have something to eat. Let's see if I can find that painting. This will sound like some incest shit, but hang on. Feeds. Yeah, this should be it right here. Yeah. Because men always had far worse punishments than any woman could have ever got. The vast majority. I forget the name of this painting, but yeah, she had to feed him breast milk. I can't remember if it's a complete true story, but I'm sure stuff like this happened. I'm sure this was not. I'm sure it wasn't super uncommon in this scenario, and in historical punishment scenarios. Here's Kendra. Kendra. Hey, I'm trying to work with no chance of taking a break, or else everything crumbles. Do you have any tips? No drift. Damn, man. You say I'm drowning in work with no chance of taking a break, or else everything crumbles. Do you have any tips? Something's gonna eventually give. Okay. Now something's gonna eventually give, and in my history of dealing with like shitty times, like it's never gonna happen when you looking for it. Like, it's always gonna happen in it's gonna happen when it's gonna finally break when you are absolutely paying no attention at all at getting out. That's when it's gonna happen. Now, depending on the stressors, I think the stressors is the bigger question. Like, what exactly all stresses are you dealing with? If you're dealing with if it's just you and a flat, and you can keep women out the way, I think that's a lot easier to deal with a lot of it. From my perspective, is once you start having to juggle fake personalities around bitches, that's when for me it's just unbearable. It just gets unbearable for me. That's from my perspective. I'm sure we're not the same people, so I'm not trying to say that like this is going to be the same for you. But for me, like I said, I've been lost in a whole nother country with no money and nothing, and just had to figure shit out and didn't know when it was going to get better. Right? It's not that I didn't have any money. I didn't have access to my money. Right? And I'm in a whole other country, don't speak the language, none of that shit. Right? And I had no idea how long it was going to take. I can call my dad, but even if my dad wanted to send me money, I couldn't have gotten it. Right? So is these times like things will give when you're not expecting it to give. Like I told that story. I was when I was I just had no access to my money, and when you leave outside of Prague, like it's back to that 1930 shit in America where like everything closes at 8. If anything's even open, every day throughout the week in many places. So even getting Western Union wasn't even possible where I was at. So it's not like money is gonna fix everything, because something can happen and you just lose access to your own money, right? I told that story, like I was down to my last $5 in another country, 5,000 miles away from home, and don't speak the language, right? and I was down to my last about five. It was like 100 Czech crowns. It was about $5, and I had enough, so I know how to survive off of nothing as far as like what to buy from the grocery store, shit like that, to make it last longer. So I had like lentils, shit like that, which I don't have a problem with. I think lentils are great. Um, and I had my last $5, and I went and gambled it. I went to the casino, right? And I ended up winning my rent money like at the casino that night. I always tell that story because I figured out. Because here's the thing. Now here's a good part about like being from a place like the U.S. and then coming to like a place like over here with technology. So like in many ways they'll be behind and they don't really understand it. So like one thing if you have any history in any type of dealing with computers or any type of program at all, which I hate programming, but I understand the logic of it. So when you come from a country that's like used to that and you've had some history in it, like you can pick up on. I've always been good at picking up on what they might be thinking I'm gonna do. So what should I do to fight that? So my tactic for going in the casinos casinos used to be completely public in Czech Republic, and now they've like blocked it off. You need an ID to get in and all this shit like that. But you can go to like any bar, to be like a little casino in the back or something here. So what I would notice was whenever I would go like to a friend of mine's bar, like if you were playing one machine and if you lost, immediately go to the machine and you could at least win like a little bit on the first try, right? And then maybe play it 2 or 3 more times and then just go to another machine. Like don't stay on that one machine too long, right? Because that one machine is because in that more elementary method of thinking about programming, like they're not gonna they're like so, okay. The technology over here is not the programming technology over here. It's caught up over the last few years, but their perspective on programming shit to be scumbaggy is not as fine tuned as North America's is, because in North America we have a lot more practice with technology. So they've thought of all these little things and methods and ways, whereas technology over here is still kind of like that secondary thing to them, right? So they're not giving that much more thought in their casinos and shit like that. So when I would gamble over here, I would always end up gambling and getting my beer for the night if somebody just didn't pay for it for speaking English to them, something like that. I would always get my beer, end up drinking for free most of the night, or for very little money, because I would just, if I had like some spare change, I would gamble it, and I knew the general theory on how to get by. But yeah, I gambled that night and got my rent money. It was like 7,000 crowns. My rent was like at the time was like 5,000 crowns. Like that's like $200. And this shitty flat. It was a shitty apartment. But yeah. And I did the math. At that time, I was earning. That was the only time that I did earn 6 figures, the equivalent of 6 figures, like after taxes. That year, I was bringing in what people who make, I think it was like 120,000 a year, make after taxes. That year I made about that off of like various different hustles and whatever the fuck. But back to no drift, man. Like the tip I have is you're gonna be tired and it's gonna get hopeless, and you're not gonna know where to turn or what to do next, right? And it never feels good, dude. It never. It doesn't. It's these moments that when you're on your real adventure, and when you go on a real adventure, that shit it's never fun. Like adventures are fun as long as you sit in a movie theater and you watching somebody else go through that shit, right? Like then it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch adventures. It's not fun to be in adventures, right? Because that's the only way it's truly an adventure is if you don't know if you're gonna make it out or not, right? But if I go to watch Indiana Jones, right? You know what I mean? Like, well, the movie's name is Indiana Jones, so of course Indiana Jones is gonna make it out this motherfucker alive, right? But Indiana Jones doesn't know this movie's name is Indiana Jones, right? So this motherfucker scared. This motherfucker, because he don't know he in a movie named, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know you in a movie named No Drift, right? Your movie's name is No, so you gonna make it out, right? But you can't see that perspective, right? but it's gonna be rough, man. It's not gonna feel good because you're on an adventure right now. But I guarantee you, man, something's gonna crack, something's gonna give, something's gonna break. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When it finally does, this time will have made you stronger. And now, okay, when you make it out of this time, now you'll be able to look back and say, okay, how can I maybe possibly try to prevent that from happening? Or how can I make it so if it happens again, I can manage it more easily, these types of things. So like you're learning in these time periods too, right? It's not a total loss at all. It sucks, but it's not a total loss. Not a total loss. But real quick, I always wanted to make a skit, right? Like, everybody remember the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and how they couldn't hear their music when it came on. Like, whenever you hear the Power Rangers music, that's when your show getting ready to be over. They getting ready to pull this power sword out, and it's over. They getting ready to do the "Hey-ya," and it's done. And I mean, because you can hear the music pop on, you hear when that shit come in, when you hear that shit, oh yeah, it's over. So like, I wanted to make like a comedy skit, like in real life, like if you could hear your own theme music come on, you be like, oh, it's over now. Like, you could do anything you want. If you just be walking down the street and you just hear you hear your own theme music pop up, oh, you could slap Mike Tyson across his cheekbones and everything. Like, yeah, Mike, my music on now, bro. Yeah, it's over. Ain't nothing you gonna do. I always wanted to make a comedy skit about that shit. And they just hear the music. And then let me see if we play. I probably get copyright. I'm gonna play this music anyway. Whenever you hear that Power Rangers music come on, like it's a wrap. we getting ready to win. You getting ready to lose. When you hear this music pop on, watch this shit be copyrighted. Let me see if I can find. Let me type in Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Okay, yeah, so it shouldn't be copyrighted because everybody's putting this motherfucker up. You hear that music? You can do anything you want. It's game over. You can walk up the street like this. And whatever you get ready to do, it's game over. Just walk up to start humping every bitch you see, everything. Like, it's over, dude. Ain't nothing you can do. My music on, fam. This is my music. It's my time. It's on. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do when you hear Power Rangers. That shit was hot. There was one cut where the Green Ranger and the Pink Ranger had to fight. And they was fighting something, and that was the one where I think the Pink Ranger used a dagger as an arrow, and it hit that. And I don't know where that shit came from, but that shit was hot. Green Ranger, Pink. Yeah, I ain't gonna never be able to find that. It was an episode where it was just them two, and they had to fight somebody. And the whole episode was whack, but that fucking it was some alternated version of it, and that shit was dope. That shit was hot as that. This was a hot episode too, where the Red Ranger was putting on the shield. Can you see that? Yeah, and he was like stuck inside that motherfucker in a heart or something like that. I remember that episode. It's Power Rangers, man. Power Rangers was his shit. This motherfucker kicked it. Let me see if I can find. Hold on. Let me look this up real fast. The Green Ranger was the baddest motherfucker on there. Look, to date, there is nobody else who was this cold. This was the most craziest shit ever. Okay, hold on. We got to take a pause real fast. No, I don't think there's been any other shockingly just I don't even have a better word for it. This was just rude. What the Green Ranger did to them Power Rangers in this episode, this was just rude. ROOD. rude. This shit was rude.
Look, man's cleared the Zord in one jump.
That's not me.
He really wanted to beat the ass.
And he goes inside the Megazord and just punches the yellow ring. And is talking shit. And this motherfucker broke in your Megazord. He just jumped. He just walked in. He said, "Yep, I'm gonna take that shit." Just jumped up. Shit. Could you imagine the look on like all the Power Rangers' faces as they watched him? Because they had the Megazord eyes, right, with the little joysticks. They was like, could you imagine? The motherfuckers were because they ain't never seen nobody do that shit before, right? Could you imagine how they was looking? And all of them was like, oh shit. I know he ain't Gary come in here. Watch this shit let's play this shit in slow motion. Oh, could you imagine like being a Power Ranger, right? And he's jumping up. He's jumping and you just watch him like hey, y'all like, is he up there? With the little joysticks. And you start hearing, ding, 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 ding. Oh shit. Could you imagine how fucking wild that shit was? Because Rita didn't even think to do some shit. Nobody else even thought to do some shit like that. Just walk up in that, just walk into the Megazord, bro. Why not? And he went in there and just start assaulting them in the damn Megazord. This was a worse rape than Eminem did. It was a Machine Gun Kelly. Remember when Eminem roasted with that kill shot? That was rape on YouTube. Eminem destroyed that whatever that dude. Started wearing a dress after that. He got this, but this is about on the same level as what Eminem did to Machine Gun Kelly. Like, my man, you look. This is embarrassing. He's on top. Look around. This motherfucker goes inside the mega. Look at him. Look at him. Where is he? All of them look like, where the fuck is he? Oh, I know he ain't come inside. And then he starts talking. And then this motherfucker declared a speech after he came in there. And just punch a motherfucker, right? Just bop. That is rude. That's fucking rude. And then he didn't just now here's the fucked up part. Like, he didn't just get into a fight with him inside the Megazord. For those of you who don't know, because maybe I'm having old boomer memories, right? He didn't just go up in here and just you know what I mean, and punch him and then walk out the Megazord. This motherfucker kicked them out of their own damn Megazord. And not even in a polite way. Like, these motherfuckers fell out the Megazord. Watch this shit. Look, these motherfuckers fell. They couldn't even teleport out. They just fell out. And then started beating their ass on the ground. This motherfucker came out. He came out in perfect form. At that point, man, just go home. Like, I'm just not fucking with you at that point. Like, I'm teleporting out of there. Got me fucked up. I ain't getting ready to sit down in there, you know what I mean, and just get my ass beat like that, and then go to the ground and get my ass beat again. This one dude, I've been following this one dude on Instagram. He's been making Power Rangers unworthy, right? Where it's like this one damn near like Terminator Power Ranger, and he goes around and kills Power Rangers from the different universes, right? And I had never thought, I thought this was so creative what he did. Because he makes his own Power Rangers. So on Instagram, I think it's called like Power Rangers Unworthy or something like that. So anyway, so in this scenario, like the Terminator Power Ranger was trying to be, he goes around and kills Power Rangers, right? And he came across like an alternate dimension of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers where like Tommy was a girl now. And it was like, you know, it worked. It was, I'm not complaining. It definitely worked how they did it. Well, these Power Rangers tried to teleport away from the Terminator Ranger, and the Terminator Ranger was on the ground, and he pulled out a watch and looked up at him. And you know how the Power Rangers, how they teleport with the colors? That motherfucker, I didn't even think nobody ever did this before. This motherfucker hit a button on his watch, and they just like dispersed as they was like teleporting. It's like crash landed. I was like, this motherfucker is wild. Let me see if I can find that shit. Rangers unworthy. That motherfucker, that motherfucker was killing him, dude. Like he just couldn't. Okay, yeah. So they way off. Okay, here it is. The first. Let me see if I can find it. It's gonna be somewhere. It says like maybe it was like part 2. Yeah, I think it was part 2 episode. Let me do episode 2. This motherfucker dispersed they fucking teleport and shit, and I did when I seen that my jaw dropped, dude. Like I didn't even think of that shit. I would have never thought of that because they were trying to fight him and they just can't. That's the Green Ranger. She got a dress on and shit, but it worked though. Like the show worked. You know, it's an independent film, but this shit worked, dude. Like, I liked it. I was watching this shit. Let me see if I can find where they teleport. Yeah, here it is. I think this is gonna be it. It was right here. Here it is, right here. This shit, my jaw hit the floor, dude, when I watched this.
Is everyone okay? Anyone hurt?
Just my pride. Yeah. And my spine. What happened? Why aren't we back at the command center? Teleporting malfunction?
It was working fine a minute ago. That's how I got to the parking garage in the first place. Thanks for that, by the way. No problem, Sam.
Don't tell me he edited this shit out. Don't tell me he edited it out. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is it right here. This is it right here. They was in a fight in the fucking parking garage.
All right, guys. Back to command center.
Look at this. Bow! I said, what the fuck? I said, my fucking jaw was on the floor. FLO when I seen that shit. They was teleporting and he just... I ain't never seen some shit like that. And they fell down here. They couldn't even teleport. That shit was dope. I said, fuck, they can't even teleport. At least with the Green Ranger, they could just teleport. But the Green Ranger could get into he got into the command center, so they couldn't even keep him out of there because he had a power coin. Check out the Gambit. Gambit, play for keeps. Word in, I'll type that in real quick. Gambit, play for keeps. Oh, I never seen this. Let's look at the trailer. It's 3 minutes, and I'm gonna get to what you call it, Kendra. Let's watch this trailer real fast.
Now you may be asking yourself, Remy, why are you in a dark alleyway walking alone? Well, there's 3 possible reasons for that. 1, I like breaking shit. 2, you know, I don't like stealing. I love it. And 3, I'm looking for a game. One thing you must know about me, when I play for keeps. Like number 4, which is probably the most true, the riders of this have no damn clue what they're doing. But let's forget that one for now.
Didn't think I'd find you, huh?
That's Wolverine's son.
Can't find you without your toys. Well, I can kick your ass without my toys. But the real question is, can you kick my ass without yours? I think not. So why don't you put those claws away? Let's find out. Well, that was sneaky, but I like the way you play. Let's have some fun.
You know what hurts? That was good. I like that. But you wanna know what hurts is that like fucking movie studios do fucking horrible jobs. How horrible like what's the Fox studio did with it? Like they just do terrible. I don't know how they fuck up so bad. They just do horrible jobs. I like that. That was good. I think they were even trying to make a Gambit movie for a while, and it just never got. I guess they canceled it or something. But yeah, I like that. That was good. So let's start with this Kendra thing where it gets too late. Yeah, I did see the trailer for X-Men '97. Yeah, I seen it. I liked it too.
Hey, baby girl.
Hi, how are you?
Good. You ready?
I am. Let's do it.
Veronica, where are you calling us from? Your name is Veronica, correct?
Yeah, it is. I didn't realize I was going to put my whole government up here.
Well, it just says Veronica. It doesn't say your last name.
All right. Oh, I'm in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina.
So Columbia, South Carolina. South Carolina. How old are you, love?
I'm going to be 43 next week.
Okay, 43. So you are Aquarius or Pisces?
Pisces for sure.
Pisces. What you do for a living, mama?
I'm a registered nurse. I work from home, and I run a media business as well.
Okay. So you're RN?
Mm-hmm.
And you run a media business. Do you have any children?
I do. I have 2 boys.
2 boys. How old are your boys? Huh?
17 and 10.
17 and 10. Are they both by the same man?
No, they're not. 2 different
Okay,
relationships.
2 men. Have you ever been married?
I have, yeah. Divorced.
When did you get to... Say again, honey?
I'm divorced.
Divorced. When did you get divorced?
Last June 2023.
Last year. Okay, last year. All right, let's get into it. So we got Veronica, South Carolina, 43, Pisces, a RN, and also owns her own media business. Mine of 2 boys, married once, got divorced last year. What kind of man you looking for, girl?
I think somebody who wants, I guess, not traditional. So somebody who understands, like, let's be friends first and let things unfold organically. Somebody who's not trying to just meet me and then have sex on the first date, because that's what I'm running into is men, like, they take you on one date and then it's like, by then they're like, okay, are you ready to get married? Let's do this. They're ready to just jump everything, like instant made family. So it's like, I just really want somebody who wants to just have fun. Let's have fun. Let's be friends. Let's figure out if we just vibe. Our principles in line, our long-term goals, are they in alignment? And let's just let things unfold organically. But the problem I'm running into is everybody just wants to just get into something serious so quickly. And so I know that's a little weird.
Go ahead, say it again, honey.
I know that's a little weird because most people are probably like, well, girl, that's what we want. But I just feel like it's a little bit of love bombing. So it's like, can we just take our time and have fun?
Yes, I think with the sex equation, I think it's because sex is so easy to obtain these days that men almost, like you're right. You shouldn't feel like after you took me on a nice dinner, the next day I'm gonna have sex with you. But that's gonna be for women like yourself and others to start laying down the ground rules of how to date again.
Well, okay, I'll say this: sex is not okay. I think this is another big misunderstanding from a woman's perspective because woman just doesn't know reality, right? Sex is sex. Well, it could be a bit in both worlds, but okay, even if sex is not easy to come by for him, let's say what's the name? Veronica met a man, and sex wasn't easy to come by for him. But okay, by the time a man has hit over 35 to 40 or 45, right? He's already been used to getting rejected, turned down, this and that his whole life. So if Veronica comes in the door and is on some whole like, oh well, you got to do this right for me and all that shit like that. Look, by the time Paul comes in this door, right, and he's been through, Paul is now okay because Veronica's 43, so Paul's gonna be at least 45, right? And see, this is where a woman just has no awareness on reality outside of her own brain, right? Paul has been through being rejected, being led on, being used, and being abused literally since he found women attractive, right? So by the time, let's say, I'm just using Paul, I don't know what, I'm just using Paul as an example. By the time Paul comes in a room at 45 to deal with Veronica, he can already feel it out that, okay, she's going to be on some old silly shit. I'm not even going to be on this. I'm just going to leave. And he may not even have another backup woman to have sex with. It's not about these men just have so many women to have sex with. The reason why sex is the reason why sex grows to be so important for women as they get older is because that's literally the only thing that's keeping them even relevant in any of this. Right? If you were to strip out sex, no men would even go over there to acknowledge either one of these women's existence. Right? So women grow into realizing that sex is everything in a relationship. Because again, sex to a woman is nothing, dude. Sex to a woman is nothing more than a back rub for her. Right? But she knows that's the only thing that she really has to give or really have to offer that is worth any man's time to deal with her on any level, right? So that's where this whole idea like sex means everything. It's not, because sex doesn't mean everything to a woman because it feels good. Sex means everything to a woman because that's literally all she has to offer. Right? That's it. If it weren't for sex, there would be virtually no reason to put up with any woman for any longer than 3 minutes. Right. Let's be honest about it. Most women cannot keep a conversation going. Most women do not learn any interesting things in life. They don't develop past the age of 14. Right. There's nothing. If you strip out the sex factor, there's no reason to even stay in communications with a woman. Right. So this is where this whole sex is important, and I don't want to have sex on the first date, blah, blah. See, it's not I don't want to have sex on the first date because you're going to see me as a whore and all this because I like sex. No, she doesn't want to have sex on the first date because that's all that she could really manage to keep you around her for any period of time. Right? And again, like I said, see, by the time a man hits her age, he's already been through the ringer. He's already been treated like shit, ignored, used up for money, got at least a house taken from him through a divorce or whatever. She done left, his ex-wife left and took the kids across the country. He's already been through the ringer. So by the time Veronica comes in the door talking about something, I need this and I need that. Look, he don't even have to have another woman lined up. He's just not going to put up with any of that anymore. anymore. It's done. Right? Now, to put it in perspective, see, from the woman's perspective, since she was essentially fucking 9 years old, there was some kid in the classroom who always stared at her and liked her and tried to kiss her on the playground, right? So from a woman's perspective, all she knows is men putting up with her shit to hope that she calls them that night. All she knows is getting away with her attitude, doing whatever she wanted to do, to be rude, to be angry, to be tired, to not want to date a guy because his middle name is Derek and not Roy. She'll get away with all this shit her entire life, right? Right? She doesn't know, woman can't even begin to comprehend what men go through. If they even start to try to, it drives them to suicide. If they even begin to see what men go through and having to deal with women, it'll drive women to self-harm. So trying to explain it to a woman it's just a waste of time because they just can't see outside their own fucking head for anything. I try to explain it to my girls sometimes, and it's just something they just can't understand it. They just cannot understand it. I explain to her because she's all like, because she's all like wrapped up on me right now. And I try to explain to her like, yeah, you know those guys who liked you over, over the last 10 years and you didn't like them back. See, those guys, the feelings that Esmeralda feels now for me. See, I try to explain to her, these feelings that she has for me, waiting me to call her back and hoping I text her back. And why did I text back for 3 hours? See, all that my spouse is feeling now for me, I try to explain to her. See, those men who liked you in the past, that's what they were feeling the whole time. You're just finally feeling 10% of it. And she's walking around like sad and all this shit. Yeah, see, yeah. But they can't understand because they're essentially born into being, rich in life compared to a man. So they can't understand it. All they want to do is get back to getting exactly what they want when they want it.
When women give up sex so easily, men just like, well, the last girl I dated slept with me. So that's where it be coming from. But no, I hear you, girlfriend. So what's your deal breakers?
Deal breakers for me are bad hygiene. You run into that a lot, believe it or not. So poor hygiene, somebody whose principles and morals don't align with mine. Because I'm not going to compromise on that. Like you had a fellow on earlier on IG who said he doesn't like his women who eat bacon. So I wouldn't date him because it's like, all right, I like bacon. So later on in the honeymoon phase, everything might be cool. You're saying it's okay, you can do that. But later on, when I start getting on your nerves, that could be something that ends up being a deal breaker. So if we're not in alignment with those things right away, I'm just not even gonna compromise.
Okay, no. Okay, so, well, at least she's aware enough to know she's gonna get on his nerves. I think she's at least grown to that level where she can openly say it, which I'm proud of her for that because most women don't even get that far. By the time a man is kicking you out because you eating bacon, usually bacon was the excuse, right? Bacon was the excuse to get away from you, right? Most men would not say, okay, if I don't know, I just use Dua Lipa because that's the only girl I know who is popular right now. If Dua Lipa walked into any man's bedroom or walked into that same man's bedroom with a whole slab of ribs and bacon, and she said, let's go, he's not going to turn Dua Lipa down, right? Until he gets tired of her. And then it's like, now I can blame the bacon, right? Now I can blame the pork, right? But no man's gonna if the woman is acting right and she's being right and all that, he'll put up with. Most men can look past diet shit. As long as it's something that he's not deathly allergic to or something like that, he can look past it. And it's not even men, women too. It's just that thing, it's the weight of many other things.
I know that doesn't work for me, if that makes sense. So poor hygiene. If we're just not in alignment with things that we just vibe on, that's a deal breaker for me. And I think again, somebody who's hypersexual, because that's a big problem now. It's like people are just, that's the first thing that comes to people's minds. So those are my deal breakers.
Okay.
Like I would leave a date and block you immediately after that.
After what?
Like you bring up we're at a date and everything is great. The vibe is going good. Conversation is great. And then they say something stupid like, I don't know, you're eating something or, you know, the way that you grab your drink and they like, damn, you know, you got a really nice mouth. And it's like, what that mouth do? Okay, we're going to stop the date right then. Well, I'm going to finish it. I'm not going to be a jerk. We're going to finish it. I'm going to just let you know. I'm going to check you and let you know, stay in your place nicely. But after that, if you continue like hypersexualizing everything, after the date is over, I'm just going to let you know. We're just like, I really wasn't feeling it. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a good night. But
now to be fair, I have witnessed that happen. And yeah, I have witnessed scenarios like that happen where some guys are just like hypersexualized. I'll give her that benefit. I'll give her that. I've witnessed that happen, and it is super fucking awkward. Even when women do it, it's just not. For me, it's not comfortable. Women and men have done it. Like I've been in scenarios where that's happened, and it's never like to me that hypersexualization of it. To me, it comes off as tacky. To me, it comes off as like, especially when a woman does it, it's just like, it's just not comfortable. Now, now with that being said, I can understand why some guys would do it given the context, because like, from the woman's perspective, like, a woman is never going to really initialize too many things, like directly, right? So if the man does initialize it, then she'll just say, oh, well, he didn't initialize it. And then that's just the end of it. And then she'll just lose interest and move on. So even though it is awkward, on the other side of it, it's like, well, what real option did you leave a man to work with? Because at the end of the day, this is what I tell my spouse. I say, look, at the end of the day, no man walks around trying to tell you something you don't want to hear, right? If every man knew what to do to just have sex with you, that's the only reason why he's talking to you. If every man knew what to say to you to just have you sucking his dick in like 2 seconds, he would just do that, right? But he doesn't know. And on top of that, the woman's sitting back and just judging him for every little word he says. Just as fast as that, as a man could have said like what that mouth do to her, and she was like disgusted by it. Another woman could have been waiting for a man to take charge and take control, and he would have been a victor. So it's like from the man's perspective, like yeah, it is awkward, but at the same time, you can be, as a woman, you could be so wish-washy and how you feel 1 minute to the next, where he doesn't know what to do, right? Now at least he didn't rape you or some shit like that, which I'm glad he didn't. But but on the other side of it, it's like, even with that, like some women want to be just completely dominated against her will. Like some women crave that shit. But the thing is, you don't know as a man. Men just don't know. So it's like it just leaves it up to this whole big question mark to what to do from time to time with a woman, right? It's really a shitty position. And again, like I said, women can't understand it. They just can't, because as a woman, she's walking around the world expecting something from the world, whereas men walk around and have to create something in the world. So these are two completely different perspectives, right? And as a woman is an eternal consumer. She's not a creator. Women are not creative nor innovative. Women are essentially always consumers, and men are always the creators, innovators, and developers of the world. And these are two completely different perspectives, right? So to ever try to equal us up, like to be like completely equal, would just absolutely never work. But with that being said, right? With that being said, see, a man would love a man would not have anywhere near the same amount of issue if the woman acted like he did, right? So as long as she was physically healthy and all that shit like that, and she wasn't being too much of a cunt. If the woman were to act like the man, and she still looked good and all that, he can make that work, right? Whereas on the flip side, if a woman got with a man who acted like a woman, she would just immediately discard him, immediately. He'd be weak, a chump, and all that shit like that, right? Right. So maybe to explain a little clearer, see, okay, a man could date himself. A man could literally date a female version of himself, right? As long as she was just, decent looking, acting good, acting right, and all that shit like that, he can do it. Whereas no woman can date the male version of them. No woman can do that. It's very few. You have a better chance of winning a lottery than trying to find it out in the world. Most women don't like themselves. That's why they usually want a man better than them, so it'll take their mind off of them. Okay, real quick, what happens in the reality of when women want a man? Okay, every woman's gonna want a man who's better than them, right? But the reality of what happens is, because I always have this happen. It's happening right now. The reality of what happens is over time, the woman starts to get even more and more insecure because she realizes just how dumb and behind she really is. Right? It's like she never really knew up front, but like the more she keeps talking to the man and seeing how he moves, she starts to figure like, oh shit, like he's better than me and I can't compete with him, type of thing. But that was the exact thing that got her in the first place. So so what it develops into her getting like more angry, either angry or like severely depressed about it. The girlfriend in college was like that. She left her boyfriend for me, and because I was better than her, I was better than all of them. And over time, it grew from admiring me being better than her to start to hate me because I was better than her.
Chemistry's not there, and we're done, and I'm blocking you and moving on.
If a man asks me what my mouth do on a date, I'm getting up and I'm walking out.
And I was seeing some of the comments, right? Because people always got something to say. So people are like, oh, it's the felon tax, the this, the that. Like maybe it might be the vibe you giving. I don't care if I showed up with pasties on my nipples and a thong. It still doesn't give you the right to sexualize me. If I didn't, I'm showing up and I'm dressed.
If you show, well, I will say, listen, no, hold up. Not necessarily the tattoos, and we will get to that because I see a lot of people with tattoos. But no, if a woman showed up to a date with pasties and her ass out, and then if a guy said to her what that mouth do, yes, it's disrespectful, but that is the way you were dressed. You have to, women, we do got to take accountability of how we present, right? So, yes, it's wrong. But if you showed up with a pasties, just pasties and your ass out, you should expect a man to say, what does that mouth do? Now, if you didn't show up that way, or nor you act that way, if a man said that to me, I'm out. I am standing up and I'm walking out, and it will be for him to figure out why the date ended. But I do want to talk about your tattoos. A lot of people in your tattoos are talking about your tattoos. So what do you feel about, I guess, the cousin's perception of your tattoos?
I personally feel like it's everybody's preference. So some people like to do wild hairstyles. Some people like to dress like you had the gentleman on earlier that was kind of a little outlandish with his dress. It's everybody's preference, but it certainly doesn't define who I am. I'm still a professional woman. I own my own home. My kids go to private school. When I'm at work, people who work with me have no idea that I have tattoos, that I ride a motorcycle, any of those things. They don't know that about me because when I'm at work, I'm completely professional. I know how to separate the two. So who I am outside of work and my preferences is not who I am at work. Hey son, how are you? It's not who I am. So that doesn't define who I am. It's preference. Some people love them. Some people don't. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not.
Fair enough. Yes, there are a group of men, because I've heard men say they have a no tattoo policy. So you're right. There are going to be some men that will automatically be turned off by it, though. But I think you don't mind. You don't want that man anyways.
It doesn't. I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't have a problem at all getting men to approach me or ask me on dates or anything. It's finding a quality of men. There's no issue with the quantity. It's the certain type and the quality. So you'd be surprised how many professional men.
So Veronica, I want you to hear what you just said. You have no problem with the quantity. It's the quality. So what you have to accept is the type of man you want, you're not attracted. This is what you're saying.
But I think, so I've worked in a hospital where I work with like neurosurgeons, cardiovascular surgeons, and they're completely covered in tattoos. So I think a tattoo doesn't say the type of person that you are or aren't.
But those neurosurgeons aren't approaching her. These surgeons and doctors, she's working in a hospital, and none of them are approaching her. These other lesser men are approaching her. That's what she just said. Because she's on Kendra. If those men or if those doctors and neurosurgeons were approaching her, then she wouldn't be on Kendra G looking for a man. Okay, here's the thing, man. Like maybe she is a good partner to hang out with, but I doubt it. And it's not even for a negative reason. It's just for the reality of a situation, right? See, her time is over in a dating market. Like, for what she can make work. Okay, so here, let's switch it real fast to my iPads. So let's do 16, right? This is how old the woman is and how old the man is. This is a woman and man, right? Let me see if I remember. Yeah, it's woman and man, a woman and man, right? And yeah, so in these years, up until about, I say 35. Let's do this. Family. See, in these years, up to 35 for both, right? Up to 35. Family is good. Getting a family, developing a family for a man is going to be very, very low, right? But for a woman, getting any type of family, any potential is going to be very, very high in these years, right? So when she's younger, she's going to pop out a bunch of little babies here and there, you know, this type of shit, right? And he's going to be essentially like, that's a sad face. Sad, right? That's a horrible sad face. But after roughly, I would say roughly about 35 years of age and up, his potential for family slowly starts to go up and up and up, depending on, you know, what he wants to do, where he's willing to go. But his potential goes up, whereas essentially for the woman, her potential, it pretty much immediately drops. Right. So in this period of life was by far her, you know, that was her height of life. And this is the man's low part of life. But in everything flips to the point where, like, yeah, it flips. After 30, 35-ish, her path, let's go back to her. Her path is not going to get any better. There's no reason to. There's no reason for her path to get better. Because she's already got kids. She's 43. So why? She's already been completely honest that she's going to get on your nerves. So, like, why would a man who is going to be going on 50, why would he want to walk into a house or walk into a relationship where there's going to be at least 4 other people that are going to be deeply intertwined? Because she has 2 kids, one's 10 and one's 17, right? So the 2 kids are going to be deeply intertwined, and at least one of those baby daddies is going to be. So let's say at least, so if a man comes in and deals with her, right, he is at minimum taking on a total of 3 people with 3 different personalities, 3 different issues in life, and 3 completely different perspectives in life, right? And he's the one outsider. And that's if the baby's father isn't around. right? If the kid's father's around, well, now you know you got a total of 5 people you have to always take account for, be aware of, for whatever reason. At the drop of a hat, somebody got sick, somebody needs something, you need whatever the fuck, right? And on top of that, she's 43. She's not starting another family. You don't want a family. You don't want to start a family with a 43-year-old woman with 2 kids. Trust me on that. You don't want to do that. That's about the worst thing you can do in life. I would far more recommend you to go to Thailand and get you a gold digger whore out there instead of hook up with her. You do not want to start a relate. You do not, after 35, 40, they're fucking done, dude. There's just nothing, there's no reason to sit around them. Now for this woman, maybe one of her kids' fathers, there's a reason for them to come around and deal with her. You know, that makes sense. But a new man walking in there, no. And notice how she said, so essentially what she said was every educated man doesn't fuck with her. Who's even going to take the chance out the time to go even approach her? It's going to be men who don't know how to bathe and, you know what I mean? It'll be socially, because any educated man's going to look at that and say, yeah, that's not even worth getting pussy out of, dude. I'd be better off just go dropping $100 on a hooker and move on with my life instead of even talking to her. Right. Now, I'm not saying she's a bad person. She seems well-spoken and all that. So I'm not saying all this is to speak negative of her. I'm saying this to explain her actual position in it. It's not meant to be mean or anything like that. The roaster is just strictly her position. I would never, ever recommend a man to go. Now, like I said, I think last week, if a woman's older, I would prefer her to have kids. That way, there's a good chance she got over a lot of, little issues with herself. But at the same instance, okay, started, trying to fulfill this whole princess, I'm looking for a relationship and all that. She's not worth that. It's done. That time's over. It's done. Unless you're really bored or you don't have any other option in your life to do and you just super lonely, which can happen. Unless you're really desperate, she's not worth it. And again, I'm not saying that to be mean to her or mean about her or anything like that. Because I think she's a well-spoken woman. She sounds like she has a good job and she sounds like she has at least some bit of focus. Even if she's faking it, there's at least some focus in there, right? So I'm not saying this to completely bash her. It's the reality of her position. And she's in where did all the good men go? She's in that position now. Let's be real. Kendra's probably about there. Let's be honest about it. There's no real reason to go with Kendra. If I remember, she's like, 45 or something like that, 44? I don't care how good she looks. Okay, to go there, look at Sofia Vergara. Hang on. Break it. I've spelled it wrong. But yeah, look at Sofia Vergara. Yeah. The reason why they broke up was because he wanted to actually start a fucking family and grow up. So they broke up. Sofia Vergara couldn't even outlast it, right? So what the fuck? What do you think this is? Sofia Vergara couldn't hold on to this shit, and she's Sofia Vergara. She got money and she looks good for her age and all that, but he wants a family. Yeah, it's done. I said, here's the thing. I think it's fucked up. It really is. It's fucked up. It's a fucked up. Women inevitably end up in a fucked up position. Very few of them end up in a good position later in life, especially if they end up alone. Very few end up in a good. Their entire purpose for being around was lost on their youth, and it's really sad. It's really fucked up and it's sad.
So, I mean, if somebody's bothered with something as small as a tattoo, then we're not even going to set anywhere. Our minds don't even think the same. So, like, if you had a 6th toe, I'm not going to knock you out because you have a 6th toe. Like, it just is what it is. But that's okay. We're not in alignment. Again, that person is not in alignment with me, so therefore we're good. Let's just keep pushing on to the next.
Okay. But I mean, all I wanted to do was for you to bring awareness of what you realize yourself. Like, all the men that you are attracting are not the men that you desire, but the men that you desire, because you're saying you're lacking the quality. And I'm not saying it's the tattoos is the reason. I will say the men that a lot of you guys describe have been on my show, and some of them have had a no tattoo. They didn't want women with tattoos. But I cannot say that that is the reason why you're not attracting all men that you perceive to be quality.
No, I'm attracting quality men, but I said my first issue I said I was having was going out on the dates is nobody wants to let things just unfold organically. It's like date one, and it's like, okay, so where do you see us going now? And then it's like immediately, let's move into relationship. By date three, they're ready to just lock things down. And I get that at this age where we are, most of us have been married or divorced, and people are just ready to just move on. So the issue I'm having is like, just let things unfold. Just let's not rush things. Just get to know one another and see where things go. Because I think when you start to push things or you have an expectation or a perception of what something should be, you start to settle for things. You start to overlook red flags, and you start to accept things that you wouldn't normally accept if you just stood back and took the time and just let things unfold naturally.
I don't believe that. This is a cover up, because Kendra literally just spelled out "you're trash." She literally just spelled out "you're trash." No. The surgeon, he tried to marry me in 10 minutes, and I just said, no, we gotta like let things unravel. Yeah, bullshit. You're a fucking RN, dude. Like, you have a bachelor's degree. Nothing wrong with bachelor's degrees, but in the medical world, that's a big jump. And if she went, if it go from a man who has bad hygiene, yeah, that whole ass rant was a cop out. Was a quick cover, was an on the fly cover up, because Kendra literally just spelled out to her, you're attracting what you are, and you don't like it because you don't like yourself.
Fair enough.
A lot of people end up in relationships and be unhappy because of that.
Fair enough. Now, I could have heard you wrong. We will move on, but I could have swore you said you don't have a quantities problem, you have a quality problem. That's what I thought you said.
Initially, when I came on, I was talking about how quickly people want to be in a relationship. You said, what type of man are you looking for? And I said, well, one who wants to be friends first, want to have fun, be friends, and let things unfold organically.
No. I'm not talking about that part. I'm not talking about that part. Let's be clear. You said, Kendra, I want to be clear. I don't have a quantity problem. Plenty of men are trying to date me. It's the quality.
Oh, it doesn't. I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't have a problem at all getting men to approach me or ask me on dates or anything. It's finding a quality. I mean, there's no issue with the quantity.
She hit her with the Rick James. She hit her with the rewind with Rick James. I know she is upset. Who is Veronica? I know Veronica is mad. I hope Veronica didn't see that, because she is upset. She hit her with the rewind. Oh, let's watch this.
Let's be clear. You said, Kendra, I want to be clear. I don't have a quantity problem. Plenty of men are trying to date me. It's the quality.
Oh, it doesn't. I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't have a problem at all getting men to approach me or ask me on dates or anything. It's finding a quality of men. There's no issue with the quantity. It's the certain type and the quality. So
that's what you said.
Well,
we're gonna move forward.
I did say, yeah. All right, that's fine.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. All right. Does the guy have to look a certain way?
No.
You don't care how he looks?
No, not necessarily, because, I mean, no, not at all.
Okay. What about money? Should he make a certain amount of money?
He doesn't have to make a certain amount of money, but I'm not doing Build-A-Bear. I'm not doing, at this age, I'm going to be 43. I'm dating somebody who's my age, so you should have already had some sort of something established. So you can't still be trying to be a rapper or whatever, just starting your career, or you have all these dreams and hoping that somebody's going to help you get there. So at least have yourself somewhat established.
Okay, fair enough. Let's do the Kendra Cam, Veronica.
I do want to preface that I was in pajamas. I just got out of the shower and I was in pajamas, but okay. Well, I didn't say pajamas, but what?
All your tattoos are real? Oh, you have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, they are all real.
Okay, you have a nice you have a nice body. How many tattoos do you have?
42.
42. Okay, okay. So, Veronica, when was your last relationship?
Last year, last June.
Last year.
Well,
last
that was the
June.
end of it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, because you was married, correct?
Right, but you know if you've been through a divorce, you know that the relationship.
I never
is
been
over
through a
long before the
divorce.
actual. Okay, well, or any relationship or breakup. Usually, the relationship is over long before you actually, break up. Especially in a marriage, it's usually over way before it's actually finalized and everything. So.
Okay, okay. So you don't have to answer, but I'm gonna ask. When's the last time you was intimate with someone?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's. Oh, that was a while ago. All right. What are 3 flaws you have to work on when it comes to a relationship?
Things I could do better on is I think being really over understanding people too much and being caring, giving too much. So when somebody's not matching energy, still giving 110%. So I struggle with I don't know how to give any less. So it's like you getting all of me and the best of me. So giving too much for people who aren't deserving, and then
You ain't fucking.
yeah, probably tolerance and patience. Just really kind of being more understanding, being tolerant of people.
Okay. I have a couple of paid questions for you. You ready for them?
Okay.
Okay. Let's start with L be paying to ask everybody questions, child. He said this. I think it's a guy.
I do want to answer this real quick though. You could tell this is my natural body. Everybody's got something to say. Everything matches, and you could tell. And if you can go look at my social media, and you can tell I've been like this all my life. I'm Afro Latina, and if y'all know, Latin women and Black women are naturally built this way. So yeah.
Okay. So anybody that had concerns about her body, it is authentic. She's never had no body surgery. This is the body. She got it from her mama and her daddy.
My mama on my social media, you can see her too. Miss Olivia was a hottie in her day too. So, and still is at 63.
Not the mama is a hottie too. Okay, here we go, honey. Wait, this one. L-double-I sent money to say, how you look attract the guys you get. And most men have tattoos, but we really don't want to marry a woman that looks like us, respectfully so. So you was married. Did your last husband have tattoos?
He only had like 2 when we met, but he ended up getting a whole lot more while we were married.
Okay. HV Pookie said, quality men are men who know what they want and go after it. Like the men, she said, wants to move faster. I think she is confused. So I guess he was saying how you said earlier there were some men that wanted to move faster, but then you wanted to move slow.
I'm not confused. I'm very clear about that. I still feel like we've only been on 3 dates, and by 3 dates, you're already wanting to be monogamous. We still don't know one another. We can still continue to date and get to know each other, but we don't have to lock things down. I get that, like he said, men know what they want. They want to be able to, they know what they want and they're ready to move forward. Great, I get that. But we don't have to lock things down. We can just say, hey, we're choosing to continue to spend time and get to know one another. But yeah, I don't feel like I'm confused about it. It's very clear for me. I understand exactly what I'm looking for, but if it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work. I've been on dates.
So I'm assuming that guy that wants to lock things down, do you like him back?
Yeah, I actually went
this
on a
man
date.
doesn't exist. This is created. This is his created.
A couple of weeks ago with a fellow who was really nice. He was an attractive guy. The date was great. We had a really great time. Everything flowed really well. But he was moving too fast. He was like, listen, I really could see myself being with you, that kind of thing, all of this stuff. And I just was like, well, hey, let's just take our time. Let's just be friends first. And he said to me, I have enough friends. I don't need another lady friend. Either you want to be, move forward as my woman, or there's really no need for us to keep in touch. And I said, well, I respect that. And that's not where I am now. I really would like to get to know you a little more. So we parted ways that day, even though the date went great and everything was well. We just we weren't in alignment with where we
Wow,
wanted to
that's
go with it.
interesting. Well, that's interesting. I feel like I guess it goes both ways. There's some women who are like, these guys don't want to commit, and all they want to do is date and string you along, and that irritates them. You're saying the opposite to be true. This guy who you actually did like was ready to lock it down, but you didn't want to lock it down.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, and she's on. Yeah. That's very believable. Yeah, I'm joking. It's not. I don't believe it at all. To the point where she's struggling so bad in dating. She works at a hospital and she works around neurosurgeons and doctors all day, and she has so many men after her that she has her pick. But just so happens none of them are ever doing anything right, and she's so desperate for a man that she's literally waiting to be dialed into a YouTube call-in show to advertise herself to men on the internet. That math is not adding up. That MAF is not adding up, dude. It's just not adding up. Right? See, that math will add up to a guy who's desperate, who's trying to talk himself into liking her and all that shit. But that math is not, it's not adding up. She's so fucking awesome. She's so great. The last 2 men that she had kids with left her. She claims she's getting approached by dirty men who are, like horrible and all this shit. And then when confronted about it, and all of a sudden she gets a quality man who tried to marry her in 2 days kind of thing. And no, none of this shit is adding up. And look, especially as a woman, by the time you have made it to the Kendra call-in show, that should be the immediate fucking red flag that you are at rock bottom. All right, you are officially at rock bottom. By the time, as a woman, by the time you're doing online dating or you have to advertise yourself online to find a man, that is the woman equivalent of rock bottom. It's another day in the life for men, but for a woman, you are officially at rock bottom. By the time you say hi, Kendra, your life is done. By the time you even thought maybe I should go on Kendra, you done as a woman. It's over. You are officially at rock bottom. Y'all, this shit.
You ain't fucking with me?
Personally, you talk like my little brother.
Oh, hold on. Let me go ahead. Go on back.
I'm 26.
Okay.
And you talk like my little brother. I feel
Where
like
you
I'm
from?
talking to my Chicago as well.
Oh,
Isn't that crazy?
okay.
Yeah, you're very gorgeous though, but I don't like that you put the fake flower in your vest trying to make it look better than what it was.
Yeah.
I don't like that you brought a fake briefcase. There's probably nothing in there, and it's
Nose
also halfway
ring.
open. You should probably close it.
What
I don't
would
like
be
that the fact that
considered a
you
fake
put your
briefcase?
hat.
What would be
Why do you have a
considered
hat
a
on?
fake briefcase, though?
Fake
I mean,
briefcase
the
is
hair
when
done.
something-
It's done. It's
So
done,
why
dog.
didn't you show your hair?
That's what I wanted to do today.
I don't understand. I just want to see your hair though.
I get it. You feel me? I've dealt with, you feel me, Chicago women most of my life. You okay? You feel me? Me and your brother probably sound alike because we done been through the same struggles. You feel me? But I could respect that. I just wanted to know what you was thinking about. That's all that was.
It's just weird talking to my little brother. So
No problem. You can't say little. We the same age, darling. Let's be respectful.
you sound like him though.
That's
So
because we from
talking-
the same place. So you don't like
No,
you don't
it's
like
not.
people from your hometown.
I never said
and
that.
that's respectful. I can respect
I
that.
just want a man with a higher vocabulary,
Okay.
which you don't have on your day-to-day speak.
Nose ring.
Speaking to all the other women, trust. I know you're good.
I talk like where I was born from. I got a real like respect. I can't let you like, you feel me, throw down what I've been through. You feel me?
I never said what you went through
I'm just
was-
saying though, you tried though, darling.
No, I
You feel me?
didn't.
So I want you to know like I'm really from struggle. I speak a
great.
certain type of way, but I've searched for education. I have a bachelor's
That's
degree.
fine.
You feel me? What I do right now, I work with people every day. So I don't want you to just throw shade on hood niggas in general.
wasn't throwing shade
I
on you,
speak with a
love.
little slang. I got a little hood to me, but I'm educated, baby.
No, that's fine.
We can move forward. Thank you.
Okay.
That was hard to watch, man. Not because of the young man, but because of the young lady. Like, it's a few things going on in this video. First, I want to say this is a good example of how you maintain your frame, right? He didn't get to insulting her. He didn't get to calling her out her name, you know, going into a back and forth, like, belittling contest. He stood on his own too. He didn't let her rattle him, what she was clearly trying to do. For whatever reason, I can't figure out why she went so hard. Her talking about his clothes and briefcase and all that was unnecessary. So I can't figure out why, you know, what a reason would be. But it could have been because, you know, some chicks got insecurities and they'll try to mask those insecurities, or they'll try to bring you down to their level to make themselves feel better. That could have been the case. Some may feel like, you know, when a guy is out of their league, they feel like they got to bring them down to try to make themselves appear more, you know, presentable to that man. So she could have been trying to talk about his outfit or whatever, try to make herself look like she was higher than what she actually is. You feel me? But yeah, I totally agree with him. You know, the way he speaks and all that is just a product of his environment. He didn't sound ignorant. You know, he just sounded like he was from where he was from. But this is a good example of maintaining your frame. I know a lot of cats would felt like on some like, oh, well, you know, look what you got on, look at your clothes. Look. You don't want to do that, man. Let them get what they got to get off, and you hold your composure, because at the end of the day, like, ignorance is going to show itself. When two fools is arguing from a distance, you can't tell who's who. So
now y'all inside.
We was inside.
You just said y'all was outside off mic.
No,
behind the club.
No,
At the back of the spot,
bro. You real emotional.
I'm not emotional.
I'm telling you,
I don't have a dog in
this
this
fight.
making this about emotion and trying to make me seem like I'm irrational.
Because why are you not just believing your friend?
Let me stop.
Why are you not just believing your friend? And why do you keep? Why is it a repeated issue that you believe women when your friend is telling you something? You keep doing that. Stop!
Yo, did the girl say he tried to fuck her or something?
Yes! That's why he's sitting there acting light-skinned.
Bro.
The fuck are we talking about?
You keep screaming.
Light-skinned bullshit.
And stop. So hold up. Wait. Now I gotta wait. Let me ask you one question. You're about to piss me off and I'm gonna start screaming back at you. Wait, can I ask a question real quick? This is about you always saying you not coming behind us when we fuck with a bitch. You knew I fuck with the bitch. You met the bitch through me and you came behind her. You should have never kissed her if that's your instance.
Ish, you keep ignoring me saying
y'all niggas sitting here acting like I'm crazy. This nigga be fucking lying.
Ish, I don't know this girl from you.
You do. You met her through me.
You
get the convenient amnesia. So any bitch I fuck behind you, I don't know neither. I ain't meet him through you.
No, Ish, that's...
All right, that's enough of that. As you can see, Ish lost his frame. He lost.
I have no idea. Is that Joe Budden? I don't even know. I don't know who any of these guys are.
Not try to go further along after you've gotten the number and start an initial conversation. Was it, I don't know, I'm so new to the dating world, this new generation. Is it you're intimidated? Because I know about intimidation. I actually did a post a couple posts back about being so shy. Since then, I've done a complete 180, and now I'm just like, you know what, like I'm walking up to people and I'm gonna introduce myself, because I'm like, what is there to lose?
There is a big point she is missing. She said that men are no longer approaching women. This statement is not completely true. I would say that if you asked young ladies...
That is the purest idea of white supremacy. No, it's not. Are you crying? Are you going to cry? With all due respect, Barack Obama isn't black because he have a drop of black in him. My kids are not black. My wife is white. I'm black. They're biracial. They're not black. See, what happened in history is that if a black man or a white man or any other race had a drop of anything else, it eliminated them from being pure white. It was called a one-drop rule. If a white person had a baby with a black person, they did not want the white race to not be pure, so you defaulted to the other race. Today, they practice the same thing. What makes my son black? He is 50-50. He's half white, half black. There's no way that you call him black unless you want the white race to be pure. And I think that's what that is. It's white supremacy that says that a black man and a white woman together make a black kid.
Okay, no. Okay, I think, okay, that was, I don't agree. My son is black. All right. Now, I know my son is biracial, but my son is black. That Negro, when he goes out there in that world what he's talking about, what this guy was talking, he was, in my opinion, he was comparing two completely wrong things. I mean, he was two completely different times in history on racism, right? So in the time period that he's talking about, that was when Caucasian was pretty much strictly facial features. The color came in much later, like a fair bit of time after Caucasian after it was like strict like the Caucasian race. For those of you who are outside of America, North America says Caucasian to mean white. Well, that came from in North America. They were trying to find order in biology among people, plants, and animals and shit. So the word Caucasian, if I'm not mistaken, it originated from seeing the by deducing facial features. So you could have been Caucasian and been Native American and brown, and you would still be classified as Caucasian. It slowly turned into being Caucasian just automatically meaning white, because in that time the whites thought they were better than everybody else. So that they essentially just sanctioned the word Caucasian off to them, and everybody else could not be Caucasian. So back in the time period where he's talking about, yeah, there was a law saying like, yeah, if you mixed with a child, if a black person mixed with a white person had a child, legally that child is never pure white again. Right, he's never gonna have any. He can never ever be in with certain groups, certain people, shit like that. Just because even if they could pass for white, right? If they know that one of your parents is black, if you're like, let's say like Halsey, the singer Halsey, I'm pretty sure Halsey is one of them who can pass for. She's one of them who she can pass for white, but she's mixed. Yeah, she's the one. Yeah, her father, she's not white, but she can pass for white, and that's what really got her over in a lot of this shit. Is she's one of those who can pass, right? But the time period he's talking about was back in those times. Unless Halsey kept it real quiet, like she was considered black. And here's the thing, this goes so deep. There was a woman on Oprah who held this family secret for years, and she let me see if I can find. I think it was Oprah. Secret was like this was a big deal dating. Yeah, this I think. Yeah, there was this. It was USA Today.
A secretive mother, a grandfather she had never met.
So it was this. This woman, she found out that her mother was actually just passing as white, and her mother would always, like, she would never go outside in the sun because she might tan. So she was like super strict to try to keep her skin white so she can be considered like, you know, better and pure. But her mother was actually mixed, and she found out like years later. Now with that being said, I don't agree with him, because due to how history had changed and perceptions changed, right? See, nowadays Halsey can go out there and get into certain clubs, get in with certain walks of life and certain people, as long as they don't know that she's a mixed girl, right? Once motherfuckers find out that she's mixed, she's gonna start. Okay, guarantee Halsey's gonna have some doors shut in her face, right? Once she makes it so high or whatever, right? But the thing is, like, so nowadays it's strictly about color. Back in those years, it wasn't strictly about color. Back in the years that he's talking about, it was more about just knowing, like, the fact that you came from a non-white person. Nowadays, it's strictly about it's more strictly about skin tone and skin color. You know, when pushed in the world, it's going to become a thing. But no, my son, he's biracial. Look, he's black. I don't. That's not white supremacy to say that. Okay, the reason why I say my son is okay when he goes out in that world, he's black, right? Because in that world, he's not white, so he's automatically not part of that group. Right, so that's why I say he's black. Now, he's not black. He's actually like mulatto or some shit like that. But let's be real. Like, in the world, when my son goes out there in the world, he is not white. Right? I mean, you could say biracial. You could use up any comforting words you want to sprinkle on comfort to try to, you know, disregard the reality. But when my son goes out there, he's not white. So he's not white. So he's lesser in that world. Right? Something happens You know what I mean? Shit like that, and motherfuckers are getting pushed, it's gonna come out. Friends, family, all that shit, right? Because he's not white, right? So I'll just say he's black. I mean, he's not 100% black, but as far as I'm concerned, in the real world, it'd be safe to just assume he was black, right? Now, I'm trying to think of where you could even get white supremacy at from. Maybe he was just tired on stage and probably was tired. He was getting attacked for the last 3 hours on stage, and maybe he was just, off somewhere. So I'm not going to hold him too hardly against that. I'm just only speaking my opinion on it. But yeah, no, my son, I don't expect my son to go out there and get completely through with ease immediately. Dude, every fucking morning, if I go on Facebook, I wake up and just go to like any ad that shows a brown person in the ad and go through the Facebook comments and click show all comments because they try to delete the racist ones, especially in their language. And it's just like, dude, I wake up to that shit. Like it's part of my life. You know what I mean? If they put a brown person in a European ad on Facebook, they come out the woodwork in their language. So the rest of the world, if you don't know, check my Instagram. I think that was I posted this morning, I think. Check my Instagram about how they could just hide it in their language and nobody else knows. If they're just brown. Yeah, you're not white. I mean, you can say biracial if you want to. I mean, it's cute to say that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it makes you sound exotic. But I mean, let's be real. When Kratos goes out there, he's a Negro. All right. Flat out, he gonna be because he's not white. Let's just be real about it. I'm not in any sense of delusion, or I'm not trying to cushion any blow or anything. That's the reality of it.
If a white person had a baby with a black person, they did not want the white race to not be pure, so you defaulted to the other race. Today, they practice the same thing. What makes my son black? He is 50-50. He's half white, half black. There's no way that you call him black unless you want the white race to be pure. And I think that's what that is.
No, it's not about wanting the right. It's not about wanting the white race to be pure. It's about knowing the reality of how you're going to be treated once the world gets pushed. I mean, motherfuckers know how to be nice as long as they ain't being pushed yet. I mean, they can fake it a little while and all that shit like that, but going out in that world when people start getting, you see what happened in Ukraine. Let's look that up real fast. Ukraine, they probably scrubbed the internet of it, but I remember seeing this when it happened. Held. You remember this shit where because so when they were here it is, animals were evacuated before African students in Ukraine. When pushed, you part of Operation Darky in the world, dude. This is what it is, right? So back when Ukraine was getting bombed and all that shit, see Ukraine fucked around and got pushed. And them Africans, they threw them Africans in fucking in dirt floor basements, and they got their own Ukrainians out of there first. They locked them Negroes downstairs. and I would have thought they would have scrubbed the internet because this would fuck around and expose. There's a lot of racism in Europe, dude. They can just hide it because they'll just hide in their own language and nobody will ever know. But these motherfuckers are wild. Like when pushed, again, you got to push them, but it'll come out. And it come out brutal. They kept the motherfuckers in there. And because I remember because I was watching the news and the African students they were speaking French all the time, saying how we were supposed to be the first ones out of here, and they kept us here. They wouldn't let us leave. We was the first one up there ready to go, and they wouldn't let us go. Yeah. That shit was wild. I would have thought they were. I would, but yeah. But back to him. Yeah, what's that Dr. Umar dude? Dudes like him. Is these guys who never really experienced the world. Like you can tell just by one or two statements. They've never experienced the world. You know what I mean? They've experienced a book, a documentary. You know what I mean? It wrote a 20-page paper on it type of shit, but they never actually experienced shit. You know what I mean? It's these Thomas Sowell kind of guys who never really experienced anything. right? It's these kind of guys who say shit like this.
It's white supremacy that says that a black man...
Yeah, Operation Darky from South Park. Y'all remember that? Operation Darky. That was funny. Operation Darky.
Our sources have told us that the Canadians are preparing for our invasion, so we must use caution. Each battalion has a specific code name and mission. Battalion 5, raise your hands. You will be the all-important first attack wave, which we will call Operation Human Shield. Hey, wait a minute. Now keep in mind, Operation Human Shield will suffer heavy losses. Battalion 14, right. You are Operation Get Behind the Darkies. You will follow Battalion 5 and try not to get killed, for God's sake. Are there any questions, men? Yes, Soldier.
Have you ever heard of the Emancipation Proclamation?
I don't listen to hip-hop. After that,
He said, I don't listen to hip-hop. But yeah, then there's these like Thomas Sowell kind of guys who say this ridiculous shit, you know, from, yeah, I mean, I can understand, like, you know, like, because, you know, how the world sees it and shit, but like, yo, it's just reality, man. I'm never hiding from reality. That's my thing. Like, you could tell by my channel, like, I don't hide from the reality of it. Like, I'll say embarrassing shit about myself on this motherfucker, right? Like, yeah.
And a white woman together make a black kid.
What's this? Finding husband.
Biggest misconception men have about women. You think we don't want to be approached. When in reality, most women are dying for you to come up to them.
Stop lying.
Sunday, and I'm where the entire U.S. military visits every weekend, Home Depot. I'm just trying to find my husband.
We got women going to Home Depot to find a husband.
Looking for my future husband in Home Depot. Epic fail.
These 65-year-old women videos going viral where they say, I walked with the feminist. I bought into the argument of being a feminist. Man was an enemy in my life. I'm 65 years old. I've never been married. I have no kids.
This war only ends when you fall. They made their decision.
For those ladies trying to avoid Galentine's, they're getting down to the studs, so to speak, searching for love in an unexpected place.
Oh, ladies, no joke, Home Depot is where you go if you want to meet a man. I just deleted all my dating apps, and now I'm coming in here to Home Depot to find my next husband. You have an aisle specifically where single men are...
Okay, now I guess, okay. I can understand why a certain class of women would do this, because again, it's all about the class you're going to be in, right? Why, like, I would say, like the typically, like, the community college, and well, you can have a little bit higher. You can have, like, you know, master's degrees too. But I would say it's definitely a certain financial class of woman who would do this. What they could see in going to Home Depot to look for a man. Okay, because the reality of it is Home Depot is like a what? It's a hardware store. It's like a Walmart or a Tesco of hardware. You go in there and buy wood, hammers, you know, drills, parts of your bathroom, shit like that, right? So the reason why this could be a thing, I don't know because I'm not in North America, but I can see what women could see in that. By the time a man is going to go to Home Depot to buy some serious shit, that usually is going to mean that he has a house to go build on, right? And women are trying to find men who have houses, who are established and have their own shit. So I think that would be the link and why women would try to go to like Home Depot to find a man, because they're just trying to like, because I think that's a better tactic than relying on online dating, because in online dating anybody can lie. But going to Home Depot and you leaving with all this lumber and, you know what I mean, all this shit like that, if the motherfucker's leaving with that much lumber, either he owns his own hardware business, you know, construction business or something like that, or he has his own house, but whatever he's doing something. Right. And he's doing something, either he's getting paid for it or he's working on something he already owns. Right. And I think for some women, that would be a quick way to weed out men who don't own their own home, or, you know, clearly don't know how to do anything with their hands, shit like that. I can see that. I can see that being real.
for the third time this month. No husbands in sight. Okay, that is funny.
I think the hardware they're seeking is not in aisle 3. You know, this is an in-store pickup that I don't think they're going to...
It's amazing the lessons life can teach a person. We got women of all ages going down to Home Depot to find husbands, not knowing that most of those men are married. To be honest, these women should look at their friend zone. There's probably a guy there who would treat them right. We've even had some single men going there as well to try to get at those single ladies.
Sunday, and I'm where the entire U.S. military visits every weekend, Home Depot. I'm just trying to find my husband. The problem is...
That means, okay, yeah. And because I went to the military. Look, by the time a woman is looking for a military man, and I'm saying this about myself. By the time a woman is looking for a military, and I won't even call myself a military man, but by the time a woman is going to find a man who the military was a good option for in life, right? This woman is on the bottom. She's in the bottom barrel. She's at the bottom barrel of the lower middle class, right? Right. Let's just be real about it. But by the time a man looked at the military and said, that's a step up in life, he's low in the world of getting money doing shit like that, right? North America and I think the UK are like some of the few, or England, or these are like the few areas that truly admire their military. Most other countries just don't even care and don't really respect them, kind of thing. And by the time she had to go to Home Depot, and she went to Home Depot. She knows that the military base may not be far away or something like that, but the military men come there to find you. They come there to buy shit, right? Right. How the fuck did she know that? Because look, I doubt she's rolling around randomly in Home Depot, especially during hours, and the military guys go there in groups and shit like that. So how the fuck did she know that? She got to talking to other women of her status and caliber who went, yeah, you know, this status and caliber of man is going here. So be there and, you know, try to find a man that'll take care of you. Right.
Is they all look the same. Is that... Oh, there he is. Oh, no, just looks like him. Don't touch him, Ashley. Learn that lesson.
Oh. Like...
These 65-year-old women videos going viral where they say, I walked with the feminist. I bought into the argument of being a feminist. Man was an enemy in my life. I'm 65 years old. I've never been married. I have no kids. I will never be able to experience what it is to be married to a man when I was in my 20s. The concept of feminism stole that away from me. Just because I looked at man as the enemy, and he's not.
It's really a shame because they will never know what it's like to build a family with a man. That's because they've allowed themselves to be brainwashed by feminism about not needing a man for anything. As you can see here, this is the number of divorce rates from 1990 to modern time today, which explains why men aren't getting married. More on that later.
Feminism has taken away from the women that want to be at home. Because now, a woman who says, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom, there's embarrassment.
Yeah.
They almost don't want to say it. They make
Yeah, it's always, the pretty girls always know. The pretty girls are usually never ever with feminism. Pretty girls don't even want to know how to spell feminism. It's always the pretty ones. Feminism is for the reject women. Feminism is essentially like how society tries to say like incels of men are like the worst men or something like that. Well, the male incel is the equivalent of a woman who's a feminist. They're the women who can't keep up. They're the women who are going to Kendra Cam and shit like that. She ain't going on the Kendra G show. How much you want to bet she ain't going on Kendra G? She don't got to go to Home Depot looking for no man. And coincidentally, she ain't, she on that whole stay at home, she's against the feminism. Yeah.
Store. Like you live at home, you know, you're always home. It's not a good thing. Raising a child is a lot of work. I personally think feminism is destroying femininity.
Yeah. Cute girls usually do. Physically attractive women who can keep up with other women usually agree with you. Yes.
Raising a child is a lot of work. I personally think feminism is destroying.
Yeah. Physically attractive women who can keep up with women tend to agree with you. Who is feminism for? Feminism is for that ugly hoe who can't keep up with girls who look like you, and she's tired of getting picked over, so now she's trying to develop an actual character and personality that's respectable to men, what she thinks is respectable to men, but she really just fucks up anyway because she's, because women just can't keep up with men in these worlds like that. So, but that's the only alternate method that feminists have. It's they're the reject women. Now get this. If you put this woman, well, here's the thing. She's already in that world. She's like I think she looks better than Lana Rhoades from this angle, right? She's already in that world where it doesn't matter what her profession is. It doesn't matter her education level. It doesn't matter what she's. A woman who looks like that could literally live under a bridge and go blow for blow with Lana Rhoades in a room, right? Just because of what she looks like, right? She doesn't need any of that. She doesn't need feminism, and you got to be strong and independent, and you got to buy your own shit. No, she doesn't need any of that, because just because the fact that she looks like that, her car note's gonna be paid every month, as long as she decides to pay it with the money that she will get from a man for free. All right. Now who ain't gonna get that shit? Let me think. Well, who's gonna have? This is brutal, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's try one who doesn't clearly have like a medical condition too. Is he like? I don't know. I feel bad about doing this because these are like real women. Let's do ugly woman AI. Because I don't want to do like a real woman. Because it's mean shit. Like, I get that shit, man. It's like, it's rough. Well, no, I would say nowadays she'd have a good chance. Now in America, she'd have a good chance. Just get her hair done. But you get what I'm trying to say. The physically attractive, they usually don't even know what feminism is. See, feminism doesn't become a thing until Where Did All the Good Men Go comes along. First it's Where Did All the Good Men Go, and then it's usually feminism at the same time or not long after that phase.
Femininity.
I agree.
You know what's hot, actually? A guy who can take rejection. That may actually make me double guess myself. Say you approach me, right? And then you're just like, you want to drink on the dance, and the bitch is like not feeling you. Like, nah, like I'm good. Thanks for the time anyway. Like, I'll catch you later, like. If you're smooth with the rejection, it's going to make me be like, hold up. You know what I mean? And then later on, maybe I'll bump into you again, and I'll be like, how about that drink? I'll be like, I'm good, love. Yeah. You get your lick back.
And see, this is the sad part, is because, like, see, she looks at, as a woman, she looks at life she looks at life as who does she have to reject, right? Because she doesn't have to approach. She's a woman. She's relatively skinny, clean, look like she could figure out how to apply soap and water. She looks at, and see, this is the sad downfall, man. It's like, they look at life on who do they have to reject, because they're going to have somebody come up and fuck with them. But the sad part, once they start getting older and she can't wear, a brawl, and nobody's going to complain about it, right? Just a brawl, no shirt, she can walk out the house with literally just a brawl on, and nobody's going to complain, right? When she starts to get older, she can't do that anymore, and it gets and then she's going to there's always going to be some desperate guy who will still fuck with her, but she won't be able to get away with the same shit that she can get away with like now. And that's how they end up on Kendra G.
There's no bigger turn off than a guy who can't take rejection or, oh, you're fucking ugly. Yeah, that.
And see, I would love to see. Well, there's a guy who can't take rejection, right? Like she said, there's nothing worse than a guy who can't take rejection. These women don't know the first thing about rejection, right? Like they're fucking idiots, dude. They don't know the first thing. They're fucking children who just happen to mature into a woman's body. But they're mentally children. They don't know the first thing. These women don't know the first thing about what it's like to go somewhere and approach somebody who and know there's a good chance they might say no for no other reason than they just could have been in a bad mood. These women have no idea about reality. Even though that makeup looks horrible on her, they have no idea about reality. None. So when women get to talking shit like this, like, man, dude, pay this shit no attention. Because she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. It'd be like Donald Trump saying, "Oh, there's nothing worse than a man who loses self-esteem because he doesn't have money." Right? Donald Trump don't know what it's like to not have money. So what the fuck does he know about that shit? His fucking father gave him $1 million loan. Like, motherfucker, you can pay me back. Here's $1 million. Pay me back if you can. Like, for real. This motherfucker got $1 million loan. Pay me back if you can, Donald. You may not. You're young. Here's $1 million. I can afford to give off $1 million, and hope you pay me back. For real. So Donald Trump has no fucking idea of what it's like to not have money. So listen to Donald Trump say anything about a motherfucker who doesn't have money is a waste of fucking time. It's the same thing about with women talking about anything to do about approaching and pretty much anything to do with having character. It's the same thing. She was born into a woman was born into a life where she doesn't have to have character. A woman is born to a life where all she has to do is sit there and exist. And she's rich. Equivalent to a man in it.
Bitch. I'm like, oh my God, thank God I didn't want to talk to you. Like, imagine what you're going to be like if we date. Like, that's scary.
This is honestly stupid. If you get rejected, don't make a fool out of yourself and keep trying to pursue that woman. I'm pretty sure there are better things to do than to entertain this game. The best thing you can do is keep moving forward. Looking back will only slow you down.
Never approach. Let the women approach you. That's what high-value men do. That's true Prince mentality. I've never approached a woman in my life. Look how I turned out.
If you approach women, they're going to think that you're equal. You don't want that. You don't want to start off a relationship with her thinking that you guys are on equal footing, equal ground. You want to instantly establish that she's chasing you, that you are the prize, that she should be coming after you. She should feel lucky that she's even talking to you.
This
I
is
got news for you too.
I recognize
by the way,
that, dude.
if as a man you have to approach a woman, guess what? You're not talking to a woman. That's just a skin sack that you're talking to. Wow. A low value one. Because a real woman would approach you.
So what can you do to get women to approach you?
I'll tell you what you should do. Just exist. Just go out in the world. If they don't recognize your greatness when you walk into a place, they're not worth it. Look at me.
You know this is comedy because I know what he's getting at. He's talking how women talk. This is how women talk about dating. Just go out and exist.
What can you do to get
This is
women
comedy. This is comedy, but he's saying everything that women say.
Approach you.
I'll tell you what you should do. Just exist. Just go out in the world. If they don't recognize your greatness when you walk into a place, they're not worth it. Look at me. I'm a 20 out of 10.
But I think I'm liking her more. She does the things I never asked for. No, baby, you can touch and feel.
They ain't got nothing to do with it. They ain't got nothing to do with it. The reason why guys never approach her is because guys are so used to women being horrible that they just don't look. See, this is a part that women don't understand too. Because again, women are born into entitlement, right? She's saying she's wondering why guys don't approach her, and it's probably because she dresses like a boy. Look, dressing like a boy, they ain't got nothing to do with it. See, women want to think so bad that something that they did actually meant something in the world, right? To like boost their value is literally because they were born as a woman. I mean, it's not respectable, right? Like the same instance, like, you know, Donald Trump isn't respectable with his lifestyle because he was born into. I mean, it's respectable that he built some money up, but it's not respectable that he has money because he was born into that life. So Donald Trump is not as respectable as, let's say, like a 50 Cent who built his shit, right? Like these are two whole different, you know, perspectives, right? But the reason why, look, and I try to tell my girls, I try to tell women I speak to about this, but women don't understand because they just walk around the world expecting things to be given to them. See, at some point, like, you just get tired of rejection, right? And by the time a guy sees a girl like that, like, guys just don't want to be rejected. You just don't want to be rejected. Everybody's gonna hit a point they just don't want to be told no. I got a story about some shoes I got. I bought some shoes here, and the fucking the little bar in the sole broke. So every time I would walk, it would click, right? So I took it to one shoe repair shop, and the first guy said, "Yeah, it can't be fixed. You gotta just throw these out and get some new boots, right?" Let me actually show them to you. They sitting right here. Let me go grab them real fast. Is these boots, right? I bought these boots. Maybe this is before I met Esmeralda, because I was dating that other girl at the time when I bought these. So this is almost 4. I had these boots for 4 years. They're Bugatti. I didn't even know Bugatti was a brand name. Like, you know, in America, if you name something the same name as a car, motherfuckers will roast you for that. But over here, like, I guess Bugatti is like a decent brand name issue. And I bought these maybe 4 years ago, right? And like I said, and they're not really the quality, but I just bought them just to have some shoes. But anyway, the little bar broke down, like this little metal bar. It's the shank, I think it's called. It broke, right? So every time I would walk, it would click. Every time I would walk, it would click, click, click. So I was like, I can't wear these. You know, I keep clicking every fucking wear. So I stopped wearing them. So I took them to a shoe repair guy. And the first guy said, no, they can't be fixed. So then I took it to another shoe repair guy. He said the same thing. No, they can't be fixed. Just throw them out, buy a new pair of shoes, right? I was like, fuck. So obviously I didn't throw them out, but I put them in the closet, and they sat in the closet. If I bought these in 2020, they sat in the closet for about 3 years. Right? And then one day I just woke up and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to look into getting them boots fixed one more time, right? Because I just didn't want to be told no, and I didn't want to throw them away, right? So I started looking into how to fix the shank, and I don't know how to do shoe repair like that, right? So I didn't even want to risk doing it on my own. Something like this, I really didn't want to risk doing it on my own. So I looked up this one more shoe repair guy. This one 3 years later, I looked at this one lad. I said, I'm going to try him. And if not, then I'm going to just take the dive and try to fix it myself. I take it to this dude's shop. It's a filthy place. Like, the blinds are covered in, like, just black. Like, it's just filthy. Like, you could not sit a piece of food down anywhere and feel comfortable picking that motherfucker up and eating it, right? Like, the whole place was that dirty. Right? And I gave him the shoe, and I was, you know, communicating with my poor Czech about the topic because I don't know how to explain clicking in Czech at all. So I just tried to say, I tried to make the sound. So he said, give me the shoe. He took the shoe, ripped it open, dug in, and started ripping shit out. And he said, here. And he showed me the shank was snapped. I said, well, can you fix it? He goes, yeah, I can fix it. I said, how much? $8. I said, I'll be right back. I get cash at the ATM. I'll be right back. Because, look, if a man took my shoe, don't even know who I am, right, and had the courage to take the shoe from my hand and take a fucking knife and rip that motherfucker out in front of me and show me exactly what the problem was, all right, just because he did that alone, that was worth me feeding off of his courage to be able to do that to my own shoe. That was worth the education. That $8 was worth the education alone. Even if he couldn't have fixed it, that $8 was worth the education for me to see that shit, right? And he fixed it. And they ain't clicked ever since. Right? But the moral to the story is I didn't want to be told no. So these shoes sat in the closet for about 3 years, 2 or 3 years. About 2 years, 2.5, something like that. Because I just didn't want to be told no. And it was a word I didn't know anything about. I just did not want the rejection. Right? And so the moral of the story is like it's just one of those things. It's not that a man's weak or anything like that. It's just being human. You just don't want to have to go out there and face rejection. And so when you apply it to a man and a woman, well, a woman never has to face rejection because a woman, she's walking around as a woman. So somebody's always going to just take, there's somebody is going to eventually approach her. So she doesn't have to go through that thought process of having to be told no and all that shit like that, right? Because she's coming from the perspective of a child, right? Like when you go up and feed a child some food, all a child does, he just goes yes or no. Like the child doesn't have to go and try to feed you food and worry about if you're going to be like yes or no. Right. This is why I always say like a woman, like she's like they're children. They don't grow until it's too late. But yeah, the reason why guys don't approach her is because when she walked in the room, she was probably walking in the room with a fucking attitude, looking like. And guys would be like, yeah, I just don't want to be told. I guarantee you, if you ask every guy in her fucking classroom, at her job, wherever the fuck, and you asked them if you injected them with truth serum, right, and said, how come you didn't approach Sarah, and they was dead on, they say, I don't want to be rejected. They would literally just say, I don't want to be rejected. I just don't feel like being rejected. Because she's a good-looking girl. She talking about some dressing like a boy was the reason why she ain't getting approached. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Look, with her dressed like that, let me zoom in so you guys, because this will be the last video I'm going to do. Look. Dressed like a boy ain't got nothing to do with it. I can see through that dressing like a boy that she's definitely fuckable. Any man could look at that and say, yeah, she ain't wearing, the most figure fitting pants, but any man could look at that and say that's fuckable, right? Any man would say that. From me to Adolf Hitler to Gandhi to Malcolm X, every man look and say, yeah, that's fuckable. But how come you ain't approaching her? Because like honestly, I just don't want to go through all that. I don't want to go through her figuring out if she likes me or not, and I gotta go through the stress thing. I'm going to be rejected, and how do I play it off if she doesn't like me? How do I play it if she does like me? And all this because even if she likes me, well, the next word I can say can turn her off from me, and I got to deal with that whole rejection now the whole day, and like it's just too much. It's not worth it. The only thing that makes it worth it in the earlier years is because she's just a pretty young girl. But once they start getting older, like was it Veronica, she don't even got that on her side anymore. So there's no reason for a man to hang out that long. The only reason why a man will hang out this long with a girl like her is because she's just a young, pretty girl. That's literally the only thing getting her and these girls over. Is the fact that they're just a young and pretty. If it wasn't for being young and pretty, they'd be sitting over there with Veronica on Kendra G, hoping to get their chance to advertise they pussy on YouTube. That's it. But yeah, back to the rejection. Like guys, it's nothing about being weak. It's nothing about being weak or nothing like that. At some point, like everybody just like you as a human, you're just not gonna wanna. You just don't want to deal with. Most people will just at some point they're gonna eventually be like, look, I'm just not on that shit today. I'm not on it. I'm not on it. That's just it. I'm just not on that shit. Like with my shoes, I left them shoes in the closet for about 2 or 3 years. Left them there because I just didn't feel like taking them. I got to put them in a bag because you can't walk around the street with shoes, right? And I got to walk around Prague with a bag of shoes just to be told no and carry my fucking clicky broken shoes back home in defeat and shit. I mean, I just didn't want to be told no. So I got the courage, over time, the courage fucked around and hit me again. I said, I'm going to try it one more time. And that time, it worked out. We fixed it for much cheaper than I thought he'd fix it for too, on top of that. But there's nothing wrong with not wanting to approach and all that. Like, I would never tell. Like, a woman will always say that because, you know, she's a piece of shit. She doesn't have to approach. All she has to do is sit back and wait and judge you for every fucking word you say. So nothing she says is of any value. Okay? Nothing that she's gonna say is of any okay, nothing that she intentionally says is of direct value. Now, you can read between the lines and figure out other shit, but okay, for her, okay, women in logic is like women being funny. Like, a woman is very rarely intentionally funny, and a woman is very rarely intentionally intelligent. Right? Right? Is that thing. It's the same thing. Yeah. I remember asking a girl in the 5th grade in front of her friends. She said no, and her friends laughed in my face. I'm glad I did it, though, because it prepared me for rejection in the future. Oh, Javi, yeah, man. Like, and dude, that's life dealing with women, man. Because women have no, like, I'm telling you, women are the most evilest, horrible people. Dude, like I said, they know how to play nice and feminine when they figure it'll get them through something. But they're naturally just terrible. Just absolutely. There's not very much there to even really respect most women outside of the reality that you just want to have sex, or she figures that you don't want to have sex with her, so she has to be nice now, right? That's usually the two options that women are going to go in everyday life. Either she figures that you want to have sex with her, or she figures that you don't want to have sex with her, and since she's so ugly now, she has to learn how to be polite and nice now, because she didn't have to learn how to be polite and nice before. Because you would pick up that slack because you want to fuck her. Right? It's a fucked up. It just is what it is, man. It's the truth. There's no and I'll say this. There's no way society can be mad about me saying that. Society can be mad about it, but there's no argument with it. Like, what was it in American Psycho? If American Psycho said it the best. If she's nice, she's not hot, and if she's hot, she's not nice. Let's see if I can find that real fast. It was I'm pretty sure it was American Psycho. Let me see it. Oh, it came up. Man's not hot. Let me see. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, I think it was Here It Is, Dinner with Paula. Now, here's the thing. Now, if this ends up like, getting in any way viral, see, I already know the argument that women will do. See, because women don't know how to argue directly and intelligently. It's always, oh, well, you got a big nose or whatever the fuck like that. So here's the thing. If this even happens to go anywhere near viral, mark my words, women and faggot-ass white knight pathetic men who think they're going to trick their way into pussy, right? They're going to focus on the fact that I'm quoting an American Psycho movie. That is American Psycho, and I must be, I must be a psycho too.
Completely empty? I'm very sorry, sir.
J&B straight and a Corona.
Would you like to hear?
I don't think it's in here. I don't think it's this scene.
Yes, sir. Would you like to hear the specials?
Not if you want to keep your spleen.
So I think they were in a brightly
This is
lit
a real
place.
beehive of activity, Halberstram. This place is hot. Very hot.
Listen, the mud soup and charcoal arugula are outrageous here.
Yeah, well,
They've omitted the pork loin with... Is that Ivana Trump? Jeez, Patrick. I mean, Marcus, what are you thinking? Why would Ivana be a Texarkana? So, wasn't Rothschild originally handling the Fisher account?
well, I could tell you that, Halberstram.
Yeah, I don't think it's this scene.
But then I'd have to kill you.
It's not this. I'm pretty sure it was a brightly lit restaurant they were in when he said that. But he said if she's nice, she's not hot, and if she's hot, she's not nice, or something like that. Hey, somebody can find it. I'm not gonna be able to find it, but somebody can find it if you want. I'm pretty sure it was that movie, but if it was that movie, it was some movie I watched, and that saying was, and again, like society can be mad about it all they want, but there's no arguing. Okay, there's not very much of an argument when it comes down to men and women. When I say like real shit, I mean there's like maybe like gray areas in some spots, but like for the vast majority of like me saying like a fact, like there's just no real way to argue. And it's one of those things like the more you're going to look into it, the more you're going to see like, oh, well, yeah, that's where it came from. Because I'm not Alexander Grace. Alexander Grace will go off and get, scholarly articles about it. And that's the one thing feminists and white knights hate is scholarly articles proving your point. Because most of the time they're not going to be educated at all and in the field. So they hate that. That's blasphemy. Scholarly articles and facts. Don't like that. .org websites, .edu. Don't like that. Stay away from that. You know what we do? We look up random people to tell us whatever we want to hear. That's what we like. .org, .edu, yucky. Yuck. .edu, yeah. .edu.org, don't like that. Yeah. Hey, good night, not a black man. Good night, man. Just let a woman talk and you'll go from lust to disgust. Yeah. Yeah. Listen to a woman talk long enough and she'll give you a good reason not to approach her. Oh, yeah. Most women cannot keep a conversation going on any level. I mean, on any level, dude. Most women just can't, because they're just expecting you to give them everything. They can't create. Most women just can't do it. They can't do it because it puts them in a position of leadership in any kind of way, and they hate it. They hate that. Well, I've been turned down brutally. I just remember one time in Vegas, I was turned down. Like they turned me down from like 30 feet away. That shit was rough. And my friends laughed at me. But it's life, man. That's just what it is. That's what it is with women, man. It's just, if you don't, was in Richard Pryor, he said, like, you do not become a man until you get your heart broke. That's how you become a man. The more you get embarrassed, like that what makes a man is going through hard times. That's why motherfuckers don't respect Macron. That was the French president. That's why motherfuckers like don't know no men like Macron. Because they all, well, I think Coach RedPill called him a fairy. I'm pretty sure Coach RedPill called him he called him a fairy. Because he married his high school teacher. Like, so Macron never had to go off in the world and be alone. Like, he was always living underneath mommy or a woman. He never was in the world truly alone, right? And then he became president while being a sheltered, like as Coach RedPill said, a sheltered fairy. He never became a man, and at this rate, he never will, right? He was in that. See, here's the thing about life and becoming a man, right? And being out in the world and knowing the real world environment. See, where I first learned this from was, you got to remember, like, I come from the suburbs, right? I come from the suburbs. So one big thing that was always kind of looming over my head was the fact that my brother did not come from the suburbs. Like, my brother came from rougher parts of town, and most of my family came from rougher parts of town. So I grew up always the more sheltered one, right? I was always the one who was more sheltered. So it was more in me to kind of seek out adventure to see what they were talking about, right? So along my journey of growing and developing, what ended up happening is I ended up surpassing all that shit. All that shit, right? So it got to the point where I remember when I first started to notice it, it was the second time I went to New York, right? Had no money. I think I had a total of $200 on me. total. And I was living in homeless shelters and sleeping in my car at the time too. And a friend of mine, I went with a friend of mine. And a friend of mine, he was always in trouble since he was an orphan and was always in trouble. He was always in and out of prison and most of his in and out of jail, detention centers. You know, when he was a kid, he was always in trouble constantly when he was a kid, right? So he knew the weird part was he was comfortable with that life, right? Like he really never had to leave. Now he worked his way out of that life, but I know him, like he's comfortable in that life. I'm not comfortable being like him in that life, right? Like I'm gonna work my way out of that shit if I can. But he's comfortable because I know him, right? When we went to New York City, this was when it first started to dawn on me that wow, like the order can change. Like I can surpass this. This same guy who spent most of his childhood in detention centers and jails for years and grew up as an orphan and all, and I've seen his criminal record on the internet. Like it's public. If you know where they come from, it's public information. He actually showed me the website where it had all the documentation because they end up beating up a guy, and like his friend robbed him with a gun, and that's how he finally got his felony. But we were in New York, and he just wasn't ready for that shit. Coming from Ohio, he wasn't ready for it, man. He was following me around. Like he wouldn't leave more than 4 feet like not much further than arm distance from me. Cause I was just like walking around looking at shit like, you know, free. And he just wasn't ready for that New York population, people walking everywhere, shit always going on. He just wasn't ready for it. And that was when I first realized like, okay, like, yeah, I you know, it's possible. You can, you know, you know, or maybe I could just grow in a different way. But yeah, I was no longer like the sheltered kid. I ended up becoming the shelter for people, right? And that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to come to a conclusion. But with that being said, where I was going with that is, see, guys like, I'm only going to say bigger names just so everybody knows the realm I'm talking about. So let's say if you put guys like me, let's say there's a room, right? And you put somebody like, let's say like me, Cat Williams, I'm trying to think of somebody else. I don't know. Let's say you put guys out there who, or let's say like I say Kanye West. Let's put Kanye West, me, like Cat Williams, Kanye West, somebody like these guys who've actually been out in the world and seen life, right? And on the other side of the room, you put like a Thomas Sowell type of dude and these other guys like that. See, we don't get along with those guys. Thomas Sowell, I'll use like a Goob YouTube guy too, the guy who like roasted me on his channel. Like, see, we don't get along. See, guys like Thomas Sowell and Goob YouTube would be secretly clutching their cell phone, waiting to call the police on us just because we just standing there. And we won't even know what was going on type of thing. Because, see, that sense of weight and knowing where you are in the world is scary to people who've never become that. Right. So like when these Thomas Sowell, the black dude I was talking about earlier, see, like if you put people out here who can say real shit, no matter, knowing they're going to get roasted by society, right? Knowing they're going to get roasted and will still say it anyway, versus like guys who are literally built to tell you what they think you want to hear, right? Because they too scared to ever come into the boat of saying what they genuinely think about anything because they're scared of hurting somebody's feelings. Right? See, we don't mix at all. We don't. And here's the thing, but and I don't even go because I grew up like this for the fact because I did go to private schools, but I wasn't like those private school people. I worked in labs and I was in universities, but I don't get along with those university people. Right? Now I'll take it even a step deeper. Is the reason behind it, in my belief, right? Okay. I don't have a problem with them, right? So when I talk about white people, whatever, like I said, my spouse is white. I don't have a problem because I noticed my viewer count like shot down by like 20 when I got on that topic. Like I get it, it's life, right? But here's the reality. See, like, because truly, I don't have a problem with that, right? but they have a problem with me. And it's a brutal thing because it's like, okay, I genuinely care for everybody on earth as a human, right? And in saying that statement, I think that's a very hard statement. It's a very relative statement because anybody can say it, right? But it's only depending on how deep, far down you had to go mentally to fully understand what that really means, right? And most people never really get down that low and then truly think when they're down that low. When many people get down that low, the last thing they want to do is think about it because it hurts and it's scary to be that low. See, it's scary to go walk into a fucking homeless shelter and watch some dude just get beat up on there and now his blood's on this like paper thin mattress on the floor and they tell you, oh yeah, you could go sleep on that now because he had to leave, right? Right. See because these are lows, right? And I'm not saying I hit the lowest ever because there's guys who would easily go lower than me, right? I'm not saying I hit the lowest ever, but I've hit that point of literally waking up. I just knew it was all a dream and it was reality, right? Right? It was reality. These life-changing moments, and I had to sit there and actually think my way through it. See, these Goob 2 Thomas Sowell kind of dudes, or the dude I was talking about earlier. Well, the dude I was talking about earlier, maybe like I said, he could have just been on a rant after being attacked for 3 hours. I don't know, but guys who say shit like that black dude that I was talking about earlier, see, he's in that boat of people because there was not much real logic really behind it if you really knew what you were talking about. You know, there's very many different facets and perspectives of why you could even approach that or how you could have approached it, right? See, guys like me, I would say I would throw Kanye West in. I'm really saying Cat Williams because the Club Shay Shay thing is on. I was thinking about Cat Williams, but he does fit the mold I'm talking about. Like, see, a Cat Williams dude could not. Okay, here's a Cat Williams type of dude would go above and beyond to take care of a Thomas Sowell, whereas a Thomas Sowell would not take care of a Cat Williams, right? It's that thing. See, a Cat Williams, I would guarantee you, a Cat Williams type of dude will make sure Thomas Sowell has some food to eat if he came to him hungry. Now, on the flip side, Thomas Sowell would act like he didn't know where his phone was at. See, and these are the deeper, darker realities of who really loves who as a human. See, the fact that I know that I love everybody as a human, right? I know I can talk shit about anything, right? And you may agree with me, you may not agree with me, but I know that I'm not seriously angry with you, and that I will, if something happened, like I will do what I can to help out, to take care of you, like, you know, as long as I'm fully aware of what's going on, kind of thing. Like, I know that. Whereas, like I said, see, like these Goob 2 kind of guys, these guys are these Thomas Sowells. These are people who just tell people what they think they want to hear, and they're just complete posers. Like, and here's the thing, it's the thing, like you can recognize it. Like once you've okay, I got another example. Once you've gone through something in any kind of way, you can immediately look at somebody many times and tell that they're full of shit. Now, one guy almost fooled me, and I'm gonna tell this story. I went to the mall with my son, right? And I was walking, and I was just leaving this play area, and I came around the corner. He was in the baby stroller, and it was this guy in an army outfit sitting in the fatigues, right? He was sitting on the couch. And my first thought was, oh shit, is Russia, like, why did they send American Army here, right? Because it had Army written on it. And, like, there's a lot of clowns here who do that stolen valor shit. I don't really care about it, but stolen valor was a big thing in North America years ago, where people just dress up in military clothes, but they're not military, and they try to say they're military and all this shit. Americans had a field day with it like 10 or 15 years ago, because it's technically a crime. But So I was immediately a bit scared because the dude's outfit completely looked legit. Because I can usually point out real quick the boots or wearing a watch or wearing like a baseball cap with it. Immediately, you know that that's not, motherfuckers don't walk around like that in any country. They ain't gonna let you walk around with a military with any military get up and you wearing Jordans and a baseball hat unless you trying to get in trouble. Right. And so I go around. I say, hey, you in the army? And as soon as he looked at me, my first thought, the second he looked at me, was, this dude has never been punched in the throat. Right? I knew he was a poser. Like, just by how his eyes looked at my eyes, I could he didn't even say anything. He just looked at me, and I can tell this dude has never been punched in the throat. And then he tried to speak, and he didn't even speak English. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's one of those, guys he's one of those clowns who like to dress up like a police officer in his off time type shit. One of these guys, right? But to be fair, it was convincing. His uniform was very fucking convincing to me. I thought this shit was real, right? But yeah, because it's one of them things that he gonna be the first one to try to get out the room real fast and all that, and he don't want to talk a lot, and you know what I mean? Even though I can speak Czech with him and all, because he asked me if I was military, I said, well, yeah, years ago, but I didn't do anything, and because at this point, you automatically know he's not American, he's not U.S. Army, he doesn't even speak English, right? But yeah. But yeah, like I said, that's the reality of the real people in the world versus the fake. So like I said, like these Thomas Sowell, Goob YouTubes, wherever what's that dude? I don't know where that dude was before. See, guys like that, you're gonna have a high chance of them pulling some bullshit. Like they just happen to not find their phone when you needed them and all that shit like that. See, those types of dudes do shit like that, and then run to social media to say that they did all this other shit and then they never did. You know what I mean? Or they did, but they found some way to like cheat the system to take it all from the people. See, those are the type of people who do that. See, like a motherfucker walking around like myself or like Cat Williams, like we not getting ready to do that, right? Because again, I grew up a life of privilege, right? But I experienced low, so I know how bad all this shit can relatively get. I know now you got to make sure you got some warmth. You got to stay dry and get some type of food and some water, and you can be all right. Now, it's easy to say that, but to actually know it is a whole different thing, right? Right? To know it. To know you in a whole nother country, don't speak the language, know nothing, and you outside, you about 3 hours outside the city capital, so you ain't got no kind of help, and you alone. You can't communicate with anybody out here, and it's dark. To live through, to go through that and not knowing what you gonna, little scenarios like that, or like I remember when I was in a homeless shelter in college, right? So little things that only people who lived in homeless shelters would know. One thing is that when you go, and my uncle asked me this to try to test me on it. He asked me, well, what did you do with all your stuff that you didn't put in the bin? I said, well, you got to use it as a pillow because you don't want people to steal it. And he goes, that's it. So when you go to the homeless shelter, right, you can't put everything in a box for one reason or another, for whatever reason, maybe shoes or whatever the fuck, right? So but you don't want anybody to steal your shit when you're in a homeless shelter. So what you do is you wrap it up in a sheet and use it as a pillow. That way nobody can steal it or your head's gonna fall and wake you up, right? I told my girl this because she never lived in a homeless shelter, but her mother and brother did for like a week or two, and I told her all the just purely weirdly demoralizing parts. One thing really got me that it's not that big when you think just on a strictly mechanical level, but it really was something that always stuck with me, and I told her these stories. I said, look, when you live in a homeless shelter, you're going to be sleeping in a room full of other people. So people, it's just a sea of snoring, coughing, sneezing all night, people moving, just constant. And it's just people everywhere around you just constantly doing it all night long. So, it's hard to get, any decent sleep in these places. That was hard. But I said the hardest part for me was, I remember the first time I got food, right? Because this is the only place I can get hot food. Because I couldn't afford the food at the college I was going to. It was just way too expensive at the time for me. Like, $2 for a piece of pizza. I just couldn't afford that back then. So I remember I told my girl, because there was things that her mother and brother never told her about their time in there. They never told her about it. Because she just has no awareness on any of this. I said, when you get food, you got to hold that tray, and you're waiting like in a long line of people, and all y'all waiting one at a time to get up there, and you just holding the tray like all the way up there and walking up a little bit. And that whole time, you just thinking, right? And seeing people, what they got to eat, and you just thinking. I remember days of doing that, man. Days, because they moved us to the Dayton Correction Institute. They put all the men there, and I remember because we would wrap around the basketball court. It was this little gym because it was the Correction Institute. They had this little day. We were in the gym part of it, and we just carried a little food tray all the way around the basketball court to get into the cafeteria part to get food. And some days were good, some days were bad, but the worst days were holidays, like Christmas. Like, because here's the thing with homeless shelters and shit, with the poor and needy. See, this is another area that people won't know unless they were in there, like not from the outside, like coming to donate, but like you were in there, like as a consumer kind of thing, right? Another area people don't know is see, the days before like Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's, like a couple days before that, people will come in and they'll bring this great food for all the homeless people because we want to give back to society and all that shit like that. But Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, they all going back to their families. And you sitting up in there with bread and with some stale bread and butter over the actual holidays because they go back to their homes. That's how it was when I was in there. They go back to they go back to their families. I remember this one dude had narcolepsy. I never seen anybody like this. He was a light-skinned dude. And I could see his face like it was yesterday, man. He was kind of weird, dude, too. He was younger. I remember I came back to the homeless shelter one day, and he was just, like, on the floor, like, laying on the floor, but his arm was, like, on the wall, and he was just out, just snoring. I'm like, what? I thought he was dead at first, and he just got up. I said, you all right? He goes, oh, yeah, I'm fine. I just do that sometimes. He just on the floor asleep in the hallway. But you know what? I always hoped I could like reconnect with him because I remember we would hang out where they would like, prepare the food type of shit. We would hang out in that area, right? And I remember one day he just kind of broke down to me. He came to me and said, I want to be like you. Like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm going to college right now. And because he knew, because I had a car. So he said, I had a car. So he asked me, like, well, how does insurance work? Like, how does insurance work? Like, how are you doing this with school? Like, he said, I want to be like you, but I don't know what to do. And I tried telling him everything I knew at the time, right? But I mean, I hope I helped him. I don't know. But I always remember that too. He came to me in the cafe, like where they cook in the cafeteria. And because we were just kind of like hanging out for some weird reason back there one time. It was me and like 3 or 4 other guys. And he just broke down. So I want to be like you. And yeah, I always wonder what happened to a few guys. I remember this one white dude. He got beat up. I used to work with him at a factory years before this. And this white dude, I think he was gay. I'm not really sure. I think he was. But I remember when I came in there, like in the beginning, he was in there, and they were like just beating him up and picking on him. Like I said, like when you go to prisons, like white dude, like see all that racial shit, like all the gender dynamics and all that shit, it flips. A lot of it flips when you go in like prisons or homeless shelters. A lot of it can or will flip. So like the white guys get it hard in there, right? And I felt sorry for him because they was just like you know, making up stories about him. I came in there one day, he was just like yelling at somebody like, "What did I do? Like I didn't do anything." And you know, and the young black guys, they were just like beating him up and picking on him and shit. I felt bad for him, man. Cause I knew, like I said, cause I knew him before that. I knew him when I worked at Delphi, like years before, at this factory making cart struts, making struts, and I knew him before that. And he was never one of those dudes who started anything. As far as I knew, he wasn't one of them type of dudes. So and them young black dudes, they was in there picking on him and beating him up and shit. And he didn't, like, I could pretty much tell, like, he just didn't deserve it. But it's one of them scenarios, like, you just don't even want to get in the middle of that shit, dude. In homeless shelters, like, you just don't want to get anywhere near the middle of that shit. But these are just, again, these are things that you just wouldn't know unless you were, like, in these scenarios on any any level. I remember when I was getting kicked out the military. I told my girl this because she always asks about it. So when they kicked me out, they put me with the troublemakers instead of the medically disabled people, right? Because it was like split in two. I was at Paris Island, and they split, and so maybe they changed it now, but it was in the same barrack, is that what you call it? But it was split in half, and I should have went to the medical side, but since they looked at me and they thought I was fine, they just put me with the people who got either like busted for drug test, or they got in fights, or they were doing something stupid, or some guys, they just, they were literally like Forrest Gumps. Like Forrest Gump doesn't make it in the military in real life. And for some reason, the guys in the medical side, I don't even know how it started, but they fucking hated me. I don't even know how I have no idea how it started, where it came from. I don't know. I have no idea. But it was this group of dudes, and it was like 4 or 5 of them and just me, right? And the one dude, his arm was in a cast. He was a big white dude, and his arm was in a cast. But the rest of them, I think one guy, his leg was fucked up. But the rest of them were like, I should have been over there with them the whole time, right? But for some reason, like they fucking, I don't know. Again, I don't know how it happened. I don't know where it came. I have no memory of it. But it was me against all them, right? So when I realized it, like I already knew, like I could at that time I could barely beat one of them. Like these dudes, I'm in the Marines, dude. Like I'm in the Marines. I could barely beat one of these guys up in it. I'm 5'7", 140 pounds. Dude. Let's be fucking real about it. Like I could barely beat up. If I could beat up one of them, it would be a low chance I could beat up another one after that. And manage that while his other 2 or 3 homies was sitting over there waiting on me type shit. I couldn't win that shit, right? So for those of you know in the military, like somebody always goes on watch. So like if it's your night to go on watch, you have to stand and watch everything for like an hour, and then somebody comes relieves you, whatever. So I remember things had started to get like a little too rough. Something happened and it triggered me to go, okay, like I know I can't win, so I got to come up with some way to protect myself. So actually what happened was a friend of mine in my area, he had just tried to kill himself, and he tried to slit his wrist. So for those of you in the military, you got to do the whole, this shit and turn around and show the bottoms of your feet to make sure you don't got, like syphilis, some shit like that showed up later. So, but because I said, look, I'm not gonna say his name. I said, look, dude, like they're gonna when they do inspection, they're gonna find these cuts and they're gonna throw you out into that fucking to that suicide watch shit, and you don't want to go over there. So I remember first what I did for him, what I did for him was I went and this is fucked up, but I had to do it for him. Like I remember I went and scraped I scraped some paint off the wall because his skin color was pretty much the same color as like the light beige paint. He's a white dude, light beige paint. And I remember I tried to ground it up as much as I could and mix it in with lotion, and I put something on top of it. I think we had some type of like Vaseline or something. First I put that on top of it, and then pretty much made like a makeshift shitty form of makeup but it went smooth. You couldn't even see it. I made the makeup for him to save him from going to that suicide watch shit, because you don't want to go over there. And then after that, when we went to go get food, I snuck a lot of pepper packets, salt and pepper packets out. So when we got back, I made some pepper spray out of hand sanitizer. Cause I remember we had this bottle of hand sanitizer. I poured out like half of it, mixed it with water, some lotion to get that oil in it. So if it got in your eyes, you can't just get it out. And I mixed a shitload of salt and pepper in it and just shook it up. I had to make pepper spray, the best pepper spray I could think to make, right? That I had access to. And when I would go to sleep, I slept with the pepper spray under my pillow, right? And I knew like remember that scene in Mission Impossible was when Tom Cruise wake up and he come up with the gun like that. Let me see if I can find that scene real quick. That I did that shit with the pepper spray. With my hand sanitizer. I can't get my fucking. Hang on. Because I want to show this. This is a great scene in Mission Impossible, by the way. But you know how he wakes up and what was it? Like it was this one. And he wake up with the gun and just like, because he had to kill himself. He had to kill himself. But, oh, it was after this scene. But it was this movie where he had to kill himself and his wife had to shoot all, his wife had to shoot all the people. And then when he woke up, he just woke up and just grabbed, like, it just instinctually just picked the gun up and just was like that. That's how it was with the pepper spray. Like I had to be on that type of alarm with the pepper spray. Like I woke up, I was like, as soon as I woke up, I could feel myself wake up, just grab it, right? Because I couldn't win. They was just, but luckily, like they ain't never do nothing. So I never had to use it, but yeah. Oh, it must have been earlier. I'm actually curious now. Where is that? Because he has to make the whole, yeah. It was a good movie though, but yeah. I've been on 3 hours. I'm gonna get off here, man. It's 10:15. I remember the story you told about the guy who had a mental breakdown because one day he came home from work and his family died. Yeah, the accountant. Yeah, I want to say his name was. I remember his face because he talked like this. He wanted a cherry pop. I was selling pops in the homeless shelter. Randy, I think his name was Randy. Yeah, because he talked like this. He talked like he just had a mental breakdown. He came home and his house was on fire and his wife and kids was in it screaming. I think it was on the news and the paper too, but I had never seen it when it came out. But yeah, he was just fucked up. Dude was just fucked up, man. He came home. He was an accountant, and he came home and his wife and kids was in the house screaming, and it was on fire, and there's nothing he could do. And he just like, yo, it's fucked up. There's nothing he could have done, man. Like I can't blame him for that shit. Watched that Thai boxing master called Senchai, who's 5'4" and is known as the giant killer. Word up. I'm getting out of here, man. It's late. So I'll let y'all go, man. I'm gonna go to bed. Y'all have a good night, evening, day. Thanks for everybody. Like, comment at anything. I don't see donate. Well, if somebody did donate, I missed it. Thanks. I probably missed it if somebody did, but I'll catch y'all later, man. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.